Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means? Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. Actually, this time of year, it's more like your lawn care plans for next year questions. If this is the first time you've joined the live stream or the channel, first of all, welcome. Happy to have you here. The way this works, super simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you enter your question, comment, concerns of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have a great time talking about lawn care. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream tonight, guys. It might be a short night tonight. It seems like it's pretty quiet. People are taking some time off, but I'm still here, so you guys are here, right? So we got VMH in the house. First of all, he says, "Hey, Ron, happy Friday. What's going on, VMH? Hopefully you're doing well, sir." Jackie Bear, always the man to lay down, always there to help support the live stream. So saying hi, Jackie. So hopefully you're doing well. Doing well too, sir. Next up, we got Mr. Robert Rainey in the house. He says, "Hey, everyone. Hope all is well." Doing well. It's been cold, man. It's gotten really cold here lately. Cold and rainy in the great state of Georgia, unfortunately, which is not fun. If you guys have been following the YouTube stories, you guys know what I'm talking about. I had like a small lake in the lawn earlier this week, a couple days ago. So that was just really early in the morning, had a ton of rain. And as you can see, the result from that is a temporary lake that hung around for about an hour and a half, and then it drained out pretty nicely. So would like to have all that rain a few months ago, right, in the early fall, but I guess you take water when you can get it, all right? Take the rainfall when you can get it. Can't complain. All right, next up is Mr. Doug, 350Z twin turbo, saying party time. It is, man. It is a good time. It's been a fun time, guys. I gotta tell you, it's, while there's not been a lot going on with as far as lawn care, like if you're into sports, like the World Cup has been pretty awesome. It's been a really good set of matches has been going on. A lot of people winning that aren't by traditional standards aren't supposed to win. Like, USA through, they normally can get through sometimes to the next round. But Japan took down Spain, and South Korea also going through. Now, of course, this next round's probably not going to be as well, but lots of great football. Looking forward to tomorrow. I think USA is playing Netherlands, so that's it's gonna be a divided one. It's gonna be a tough one because I grew up in the Netherlands and Antilles, so by rights I want to back the Dutch, but at the same time it'd be nice to see if the US can get it done. We'll see. We shall see. All right, T. Johnson on the topic of sports says, "Go Gamecocks!" All right, I didn't realize that South Carolina was still playing, but okay, I will. I'll take it. I'll take it. Next up, we got David Lee in the house saying, "Big up, Ron," and everyone in the chat hailing from Jamaica, or Jamaican roots anyway. Thanks for coming to hang out, David. I appreciate you, sir. Appreciate you. And then Robert Rainey is reporting in on his pre-emergent results. So he says, "No signs of burrweed this year. Spectacle Flow is what I use for the fall application." So if you guys remember, last year a couple things happened. One, it was unseasonably warm. So all the way into December, like this time of year, it was still relatively warm, where the lawn, at least my lawn anyway, was still, wasn't largely green, but it was definitely not fully checked out as far as dormancy in December. Right. And if you remember, Robert last year had a burrweed issue. I think he used Celsius to knock that out, and it worked fairly well. But this year he decided to go with Spectacle Flow. He stepped up to Spectacle Flow this fall for his pre-emergent, and to no surprise, there's no burrweed in his lawn, which I'm not surprised by that. Robert, Spectacle is a really good product. So your lawn really should be for the most part weed free. I mean, I'm sure you did a good job applying it, so you really shouldn't have a bunch of issues with weeds in your lawn, given that you use Spectacle this fall. Now, I got another question here from, I got it offline from a viewer, Dalen Krause, asking about large patch and spring dead spot. He says his question was, if you do a lawn renovation, do you still have the chance of having spring dead spot or large patch? And the answer for spring dead spot, the answer is still yes. For large patch, I guess it depends what you mean by renovation. If you're gonna kill off the existing grass, and then if you're gonna, no, in the springtime, you're gonna kill off the existing lawn and then start over. I don't know how you would really know if you had it, right? Because the grass is gonna be dead. So I guess it's hard to say. Hard to say for sure. As far as how to answer your question, Jalen, but of the two, spring dead spot, I would still expect to see. As far as like just having areas of the lawn where the new grass you put in doesn't take as well. But as far as large patch, if the grass is dead or you're just in the process of killing it off, I don't know that you would really see issues with that in the lawn. So hopefully that's what you're asking. I know you said you were able to be in the live stream, but you wanted to answer your question offline. So if you're watching this tomorrow, there you go. I answered your question. All right, so we got our first super chat of the evening. Let me get down here. Mr. LG is in the house. All right, thank you, LG. Super chat received. He says, "Hey, Ron, not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed you didn't get any tiger stripes after the rain you got. Can I get some Tango Bolero? Can you get some Tango Bolero? Can you? Come on, LG. While I make you the show sponsor, I can absolutely do that for you. Let's see, where is this? There we go. Yeah, so no tiger stripes for me, LG. No tiger stripes at all. Again, the grass didn't even green up because largely it's so cold now. It's checked out. If you take a look, I mean, again, I showed this a second ago, but we'll show it again. If you look, I mean, the lawn is dormant. That's like fully dormant. There's one spot you guys can't really see on camera to the left of this frame where there is still a little bit of green that's right next to the house. Maybe it'll show. No, I didn't go over far enough to see it. And then also right in front of the patio, there's also some green there too, because of that. This is the last area to check out. But the entire lawn, there's not a whole lot to get the tiger stripes. As far for color, there's that, but then also from a tiger stripe perspective, LG, remember, I've been turf raking the lawn and not letting debris or anything like that sit in the lawn all season, or ever since getting the outlet for the most part. So there's not really a lot of debris to kind of clump up. Even today, after that, there's still not really any, tiger stripes or grass clippings or clumps or that in the lawn. Now at the bottom of the swale, there's some grass clippings there, but in the back lawn, none of it settled, which is really cool. Which is really cool, right? Yet another reason, another benefit to catching all your clippings and not leaving a bunch of debris in the lawn, right? So it is more work, but then the lawn stays cleaner when you have super heavy rainfall. So appreciate the super chat, sir. Thank you for all the love and support. And I'm sorry to disappoint you that you didn't get any tire stripe action in the lawn, right? So all right, next up is Doug 350Z. He says guidance and blessings, Bretta. Bretta David. All right. So I guess you guys are also island people. So that's who my supporters are when the weather's really cold and there's nothing else going on. So I can always count on the island people to come and hang out in the live stream and support the chat, right? So that's good. I got to take the love where I can get it. All right, next up is Mr. Higgy Pop. He says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. Time for beverage. Enjoy the weekend." Yeah, after the live stream, I'm probably gonna have something. We'll see, depending on how early we get finished tonight. I'm not sure how many questions you guys are gonna have. It might be a short night, in which case I have a taste for whiskey sour, so I think I might have one of those tonight after the show's over, depending on what time I get out. Sometime we finish up here tonight. Hopefully you're sipping on something good, Higgy, and it should be a fun weekend. Again, there's the World Cup, some really good matches tomorrow, which should be fun all weekend, and then there's also NFL. So yeah, it's a lot. If you're into sports, it's a fun. There's plenty to do, right? Plenty to do this weekend if you're a sports person. All right, next up we got Linda Hayes in the house saying what's up going on, Linda. She says good evening. I'm not sure if it's the first time I've ever seen you live stream, but if so, welcome. Happy to come hang out here. It's always cool to see new people in the live stream. And then we have Michael. Michael says first time here. What's going on, Michael? Welcome. He says longtime viewer, Minnesota here. So in Minnesota, it's got to be snow all over the ground right now, right, Michael? I imagine. Definitely, I'd imagine you guys are not out mowing this time of year up in Minnesota. And Linda says, all the snow is great. You're in Buffalo, New York. Yeah. So who was it? Someone last week said that you guys had like 7 feet of snow. I think it was Archie, something ridiculous like that. Which I don't even, one of you guys that live in Buffalo should send me a picture. Like if you live in Buffalo, Ron at golfcourselawn.com, I'd like to see, send me a picture of how much snow or what you guys do with all the snow once you clean up your driveway and other areas. Because that's got to be a challenge. It's got to be a challenge, I imagine. Next up is Dwayne's World. He says, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. I hope you had a great week, sir." I did. Here's the thing. I plan to mow the dormant lawn this week just to reestablish the stripes, and I just didn't get around to it. So maybe tomorrow, depending on what the weather's like tomorrow, I might get out there and mow dormant grass like a crazy person. Because here's the thing, even though it's dormant, there's still a little bit of growth, right? So you can clean that up and make the stripes look good. And so karate in the morning, and then maybe get back, depending on how cold it is. I might get out and mow. We'll see. We'll see if I can get motivated to do it. So we can get motivated to do it. All right, next up is Lavindy. And guys, if we're gonna be hanging out tonight, you guys got to get some questions going. We definitely don't have I know there's not that many of us here in the live stream tonight, but we got to get some questions going for the show to go on. We got Lavindy in the house. He says St. Augustine sod laid at my sister's new house in North Florida. How often does it need water, and should she fertilize? Thanks. Hey Lavindy, so if it's new sod, I would whoever laid it should have told you. With Bermuda, we tend to water it for the first couple of weeks. I imagine St. Augustine is the same way. So every day for the first couple of weeks, assuming you're not getting rainfall, because in Florida you guys get a lot of rain. If you get rain, then there's no need to water it. But if you're not getting rain, then you should put some water on it to help it get established. Now, as far as fertilizing, it's hard to say, man. I mean, like the general rule is if the grass is still growing, you can continue to feed it. You being in North Florida, I don't know what's the city in North Florida? Tallahassee, right? Let's see what's the weather like in North Florida right now these days. If it's still warm enough for the grass to grow to where you're having to mow it, then yes, I would feed it. Let's see, Tallahassee, Florida. It is. It's in the 60s. It's cool. So still, it's afternoon 70s. So high of 70s, and then the low is in the high 50s, low 60s. So yeah, if you still want to feed the grass a light diet of a fertilizer like a 12, something light, then yeah, I don't think there'd be an issue with that. But again, the general rule is here's how I would make the decision, Lavendi. your sister got her new house. If there's any of her neighbors are still mowing their lawns, because it's hard to say with a lawn that is not established yet, right? But if the neighbors, other people in the neighborhood, are still mowing their lawns, then yes, by all means, feed it. And as far as watering, I'll just give you the same advice I say for Bermuda. Every day for a couple of weeks, unless you get rain, and then it's not necessary to water. So make sure it just doesn't dry out. What did I do, LG? Yep, I had you up there and I took you down. There we go. Sorry, I fixed it. I saw it. Ooh. I don't want to have the wrath of LG. So yeah, there you are. Show sponsor. All right. So hope that helps, Lavendi. Congrats to your sister on the new lawn. I'm sure it's a lot of fun. Not Bermuda, but we'll still take it, right? And as far as feeding it, if the people around her are still mowing, I would feed it. And if you just want to do like a starter fertilizer, like a 12, like, I don't even know. I think we're actually sold out of it. I don't think we actually have any in stock. I don't think so. But something, I'll show you anyway. Something like this is currently sold out. Then something balanced like that, you could go with that, assuming people in your neighborhood are still feeding their lawns. But it's right now, the starter fertilizer is sold out. If you want, you can tell her to get on the list, and as soon as some more gets in stock, she'll get an email and she can pick it up then. But yeah, that's what I would do as far as any kind of fertilization goes. All right, we've got Devin in the house. What's going on, sir? Devin's in the house. He says, "What's up, Ron? Looking forward to hearing some good turf talk. I'll try my best, sir. I'll try my best. I mean, this time of year it's kind of quiet. You know, having you on the live stream last week was really good, man. It was cool to have the cool season perspective, hear a lot about the golf course industry, all the work you guys do as far as creating a green, what goes into creating a green. It was so good that I took a segment of it and posted it on YouTube, so people that are into creating or considering to create a green at home can check that out. If you guys haven't been following the channel, there is a video on that, which is basically an interview from Devin where I asked him, hey, if someone is seriously not pain averse, someone that just wants to do something that's really hard, takes entirely too much time and work, what's involved in maintaining a green. And he just went into the maintaining part, because everyone just thinks about like getting it established, but he went into the maintaining part, and it was enough to scare even the most dedicated person away. Green main, I'll put it here. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll put it here in the chat. Maintenance video. It was really good. It was a very good interview. So I really appreciate you hanging out last week and coming on at short notice like that, just to come, take some questions and everything, which is really cool. And LG, man, being a supporter, OG supporter, says LG celebrates 11 months, almost a year of sponsorship. That's pretty awesome. He said, I want to see another video of you unnecessarily scooping them up. Oh, of the tiger stripes? No, man, the Alice made it to where that's not really a thing anymore. But here's the thing, I still mow unnecessarily, so there's that. I mean, I guess I could stream me mowing a dormant lawn if you guys really want to see that. It'd be kind of boring, but yeah, there's no tiger stripes to sweep up, unfortunately for me. But I guess that leads for less entertainment for you, LG. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe next year. Next up is Trilla. He says, happy Friday, everyone. And then Kevin Jones says, Ron, no-go dogs. No, here's the thing. I'm gonna let the Gamecocks, I'm gonna let the comments slide. Why? I don't need to be antagonistic, because here's the thing. The dogs, and I'm probably jinxing it by saying this, the dogs actually have a pretty good chance of definitely winning the SEC. Assuming we can get past LSU, I think, right? Assuming it's LSU we're gonna play. And perhaps even the national championship again. So I don't, there's no reason to if he's a Gamecocks fan, it's almost like being a Browns fan. You have to, anyone that's a Gamecocks fan is a die-hard football fan. They love their team. They don't care, lose or draw. They're still going to be there. They don't matter what, right? So you got to let people like that. You gotta, let them be. It's not like it's an Alabama fan. If it's an Alabama fan came in, and then I got to come back with the Go Dogs. But Gamecocks fan, a Vols fan, you gotta let them be. There's no reason to go out and poke the bear all the time, because those are the same people that are gonna be like all up in my face if Georgia loses, rather, which let's hope they don't. They have no reason to lose at this point. All right, next up we have Dwayne's World in the house. He says, hey Ron, got my stripe action fixed with some dorm stripes the other day. Loving the Greensmaster. It is pretty sweet, right? And here's the thing, Dwayne, it's gonna be interesting to find out. Now that you have a Greensmaster, And I know you have a bunch of California trimmers. I'm not sure if you have a True Cut, but I know you have a bunch of California trimmers. It's going to be interesting to see how much mowing time those mowers get now that you have the Greensmaster, outside of scalping, outside of like grunt work. Like how often you choose to use those instead of the GM. I think you're going to find it's not going to be quite so much, because that stripe action, once you have that GM stripe action, it is hard to get away from it. Hard to get away from it. All right, Kevin D. Jones is up next. He's got a question. All right, question. My grass is dormant, but it always has a black tint to it. I don't get scoring. I don't get spring dead spot, but I do get dollar spot in the season. Suggestions, Sensei? Huh. So hang on. So your grass that's dormant doesn't look like this. It has like you said like a black tint to it. I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of that could cause that, if you're getting a lot of rain, if you're having like maybe a little bit of algae or anything like that starting to form, maybe. But I mean, across the entire lawn, you're saying you're getting like a black tint to it while it's dormant. I have to see a picture, Kevin. Without pictures, it's hard to say exactly what's going on. I mean, it depends what you could consider a black tint. I mean, if you look at how that lawn looks now, I mean, there's some darker areas in there, but I wouldn't consider that to be like a black or a dark tint or anything like that. So if your lawn looks like that, that's normal during dormancy. If there are like darker areas of it, then I'd have to see a picture of it to know why. I mean, of all the lawns around here, and ranging from lawns that get babied a whole lot to lawns that literally get cut once every couple of weeks, I've not seen any of them that have like this darkish tint that you're this black tint that you're talking about. So I'd have to see pictures to be able to chime in. As far as spring dead spot, headway is the way to prevent that. As far as dollar spot, if you get that, then propiconazole once it forms. The thing is, though, in Bermuda lawns, while you can treat a Bermuda lawn with propiconazole, in most cases, if you are feeding Bermuda a healthy diet of nitrogen, you're giving it just under a pound of nitrogen per month when it's actively growing, you typically don't have problems with dollar spot in Bermuda. You will get large patch. You will get you can get some brown patch, large patch. You can get spring dead spot, but that starts now. But dollar spot in a lawn that is well fed, dollar spot is not normally an issue in Bermuda. And again, if you do get it and it's bad enough that you want to treat it, you can use propiconazole. But again, normally if you're feeding the lawn every month, you shouldn't have a bunch of issues with dollar spot in Bermuda lawns. Put this way, a lot of the lawns around here, same thing. Kind of going back to my example, like Alex and I never have dollar spot issues in our lawn, and the lawns around here that have, again, varying levels of care and love. Like some of them just only get fed by the lawn care service, a few times throughout the growing season, and they don't really have problems with dollar spot either. So I wouldn't worry about that too much if you have Bermuda. Other grass types are maybe more susceptible to it, but if you're feeding it well, you really shouldn't have a lot of issue with dollar spot in it. Hope that helps, sir. And as far as spring dead spot, headway, get some headway, apply it now, and that should do a lot for helping you. Applying headway and also not putting a lot of nitrogen into the lawn this time of year is going to do a lot to help you prevent spring dead spot in Bermuda and warm season grass. All right, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, thoughts on inventorying and stocking up on 2023 lawn products. Is there such a thing as too early? Shelf life with leftovers, etc. Just curious. Pricing still seems sky high with most products. Yeah, so as far as stocking up, if you have a place to keep, it depends on what you're talking about. Like I'm trying to think of what would you not stock up on now? Nothing really. Like even if you wanted to get a granular fertilizer, you could get that now. As long as you have a place that's cool and dry to store it, it's going to be fine. Like if you went and you bought like, I don't know, some flagship or whatever right now. I mean, I'm still seeing about getting Humic Max, but if you're going out to buy your fertilizer now, and you have a place to store it where it's going to be cool and dry, there's no reason why it's not going to be good when March, April time rolls around next year. You know what I mean? That's not going to be, there's no issue with that. As far as liquids, the same thing. I'm trying to think here. Looking at what's here on my like all this like Primo, Acelyprin, like all that stuff keeps fairly well, right? So yeah, I mean, there's no reason. I mean, if you want to stock up now, you can, because you're not, yeah, because between now and 3 months from now, nothing's going to go bad, assuming you are storing it properly. Nothing's going to have any kind of issues. So again, with liquids, the big thing is, like, same thing with granules, is keeping them in a cool, dry place. And if with liquids especially, making sure they're sealed properly. So if you opened it, make sure the cap is nice and tight, so you're not letting air get in there, air and moisture get into the container. Outside of that, yeah, and there's not really a whole lot to go bad with them. Now, as far as shelf life, like, I mean, with you think about Primo, 3 years is what I would say. So if you have Primo, 3 years is, I would buy enough such that you're able to use it up within 3 years, which is why this size is so nice, because typically for most lawns, people will be able to get through one of these in a season, or if you have a bit slightly bigger lawn, a couple of these in a season, and then every year you're starting out with like fresh product, right? Which is nice. Now, as far as the pricing of products being sky high, I don't see that changing. I don't see that really going down much next year, because here's the thing you have to realize: like with fertilizer, like the cost of the materials that go into fertilizer, like that went up a lot. Like potassium went up a lot this past year. Just fertilizer, and fertilizer is an expensive process to, like, making granular fertilizer is an expensive process to make from an energy standpoint, right? And even if even the cost of goods, even the cost of the components that go into fertilizer, even if that were to go down, I wouldn't expect pricing to drop too much, because of you still gotta transport it, right? Like if you buy a bunch of like, a lot of what you're paying for, in addition to like the actual cost of the raw goods going up, is the transportation costs have gotten higher, because fuel costs have gotten higher. Like shipping stuff is more expensive now. So I say all that to say that I wouldn't expect there to, in other words, if you're holding out till March, April, thinking that things are going to cost significantly less than they do now, I think that's probably a bad bet. If anything, at best they're going to stay the same. More than likely, they'll be more expensive. If you're asking me to bet one way or the other, prices are only going to go up, stay the same, or go up. They are not going to get cheaper between now and the next growing season, which is only 3-4 months away. So just something to keep in mind. So yeah, I would, if you know what you're gonna use and you know what you need, I would stock up now. Good question. That's a good one. I mean, last week we had some talks about that too. I forget, it was Devin Demare was talking about that last week, as far as the price of some of their products. I forget what he said. Is it a 15% increase, or maybe more than that? But there was definitely a price increase that he was seeing for a lot of their fungicide and Primo. And you think about them. They're buying it in such volumes that if anyone's going to get like a discount or get more attractive pricing, they would, right? And so that means there's just very little hope for us who are paying for things at full retail, right? So just something to keep in mind, Robert, as far as you're planning for next year. All right, Dwayne's World is back. He says, "Hey Ron, any plans to add Turfplex without the P, the 2003?" Yeah, so I asked about that, and there's just not a ton of demand for people like you and like two other people over the course of the entire, like, all of 2022 asked about that. Asked about the Turfplex without the phosphorus in it. And then from a standpoint of just making it more difficult for people to choose, like, the Turfplex only has like 2%? How much is in there? It's not very much. It's not very much phosphorus. Let's look. We can go look together. How much is in there? Turfplex has got, yeah, it's only 2%. Only 2%. You know what I mean? So it's not like a ton of phosphorus. If it were like a 2010 or a 2015 something, then in that case, yeah, making the argument for going for the phosphorus-free version, I could see it. Or if for places where phosphorus fertilizers, like you're not really allowed to use phosphorus fertilizers unless you have like a known deficiency, like you have soil test results that show you have a deficiency, like in those cases. But there's so little that carrying a phos-free version isn't, like, there's just not enough demand for it. I guess what I'm trying to get to, Dwayne. Like, literally you and two other people, like, there's literally been 3 requests all throughout the year for the phosphorus-free Turfplex. Really, even though early this season, when I switched to 901C and Nutrizol, like that combination, like I still could have used Turflex if I wanted to. Like, I mean, there's not that much. It's not like there's that much phosphorus in it that it was going to really, drive my numbers way up. But because I had enough phosphorus and they were a bit on the higher side, and I had an alternative, like I had something else I could use, like 901C and 901C, the kelp product, and Nutrizolve. Like I had another way of doing it. Then there was no reason for me to do that. But I mean, in other words, if Turfplex were the only liquid fertilizer that I had at the beginning of the season, I would have used it, even with my phosphorus levels being in the optimal zone, because there's so little that it really shouldn't make too much of it's not going to move the needle too much compared to like a heavier phosphorus fertilizer, if that makes sense. So yeah, no plans to add that. I'm doing all I can to try and get Humic Max back, right? Much less trying to add the Turfplex without the phosphorus in it. Yeah, I think so too, Robert. He says it was a great segment with Demir. Yeah, I think so. It's really good. We got to get him on again. You guys got to let us know what topics you guys want to discuss. But yeah, it was really good having him on. It was a lot of fun. And then Dwayne is following up. He says, or would I be better off with 901C? Yeah, if you want a no phosphorus fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, I would go with 901C. This is what I would get. I would go with 901C, and then you can get your and I realize it's only got 1% potassium, but you can use something like Stress Blend, or if you wanted to use like flax or something like that to get your increase to get your potassium added to your soil. But yes, to answer your question, I would do 901C instead of like adding a phosphorus free Turfplex. That's what I did. That's the exact reason. Like the question you're asking is exactly what I did. I went with 901C and my granular fert, and instead of trying to get like a liquid fert that doesn't have anything in it as far as phosphorus goes. So yeah, get 901C, use your granular to do a lot of your potassium additions, and you should be good to go. That's what I did this year, and it worked out really well for me. All right, next up is Mr. Lowell Mangle. He says, good evening, Ron. Alabama here. What's going on, Alabama? He says, not our year this time. No, it's not. But I mean, here's the thing. You guys have won a bunch of times in the past, and it's good. I am sure Saban will regroup, will rebuild, and next year you guys will come back with a vengeance. Here's the thing. I'm almost sad that that Alabama's not. I don't think they're going to make. It's going to be really hard for them to make the playoffs at this point, I think. Because they've got, 2 losses? At least 2. I know they lost to somebody earlier in the season. They lost to Tennessee. So it's, as far as getting in on merit, I think there's teams that are ahead of them, that are undefeated, that really should get in, even though they didn't play. They had an easier draw than Alabama did. I would like to see Georgia and Alabama meet up again. I really would. I think it would be a good to run it back, but I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe next year though. I don't think it's going to happen this year, unfortunately, because of their record. All right, next up is Don Vasquez. He says, "Hey Ron, I appreciate the talk this week with the green. I have one in my yard. I think you guys talked me into artificial turf. Whoa, don't go that far. Into artificial turf. I don't want to chase my kids off the bent grass." Yeah, but before you decide to go too far on artificial turf, there's a lot of pros and cons to that. So, I recently did a blog post on that. We'll get over here. Shameless plug. So if you go over to the store doesn't only have lawn care products, right? You've got like our fertilizers or fungicides, all this kind of jazz. But over here in our carefully prepared and curated blog section, there was an article asking the question, is artificial grass bad for the environment? So check it out. Before you go on and get rid of your actual grass, read this short read on artificial grass, like what goes into it, what it's made of, like all this kind of jazz, disposing it, all this kind of stuff. And before you go that route, as far as, getting rid of your bent grass for a fake green, which, I mean, for a green, maybe not as bad. This article is really more for an entire lawn. That's artificial turf, but even for your green, some of the challenges are still there. And then we did a couple other blogs, one on soil testing, how it can actually save you money, and then which type of grass is best suited to my areas. These are some recent blog posts that I put up here on the store. So if you guys are interested in, seeing if you agree, disagree with the write-up, by all means, check it out. But yeah, at least once or twice a month, I'm trying to put some content on here for you guys to check out. That's not video. So if you are so interested, by all means, check it out. It's on the Golf Course Lawn Store. It costs you nothing. It is under the blog section. Yeah, Don. So yeah, but it is true. Talking to Devin, it was very eye opening. Like the fungicide aspect of it, I was aware of, like that they apply fungicides every few weeks on greens to keep them healthy. But then the top dressing that would be enough for me to be like, nope, that's too much. That's way too much work, too much headache between the top dressing and all the fungicides, so all the costs associated with it. And let's say even if you had like a big, whatever 10 yards of sand just sitting by there where you could continuously top dress your green over and over and over throughout the season, and you had the time to do that, even when you're not doing all this stuff, then you have to go out and you have to mow it. Like you have to literally mow it every day to keep it looking nice, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot of work. It's easier to go find some like public course. This is the nice thing about being in Georgia. There's golf courses all over the place. Go find some public course and just go on their practice green. Just putt around there. Then they can maintain it, right? Versus you having to deal with it at home. All right, next up is Two Trilla. He says, actually, no, next up is Dwayne. He says, Dwayne's world will be fair to all my children. All real mowers will get their fair share of action. LOL. I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. You're saying that now. Wait till next year. If wait till next year once the spring hits and you start get up in there mowing and you start laying. You have that fresh grass. You lay those nice stripes with the greensmaster. It's gonna be hard to go back. I'm telling you. I'm just putting it out there. Actually, you know what? I will say this. I think you have a greens. Don't you have a greens McLean, like a McLean that has the rear drum? Like I could see you mowing with that. But I guess what I should qualify my statement. Once you start mowing your lawn with a mower it's propelled by a rear drum, like greens mowers are, it's really hard to go back to like how the True Cut is, where you have like two drive wheels like that. It's really hard to go back to that because the cut and the stripe action is so much better with a drum propelled mower than the traditional California trimmer that has the donut, and the McLean has the donut. Oh, sorry, the McLean that has the donut in the back. To go back to those, it's really hard because the cut just isn't as good, and the lawn doesn't look as good once it's done. But we'll see. I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna remember this conversation, and once I'm gonna be watching the channel too. So when I see you out there all the time, and I'll know if you're only cutting it with the Greensmaster. There's a look to a lawn when it's being cut with a greens mower versus when there's also the unwashed being sprinkled in there as well. So I will know, Dwayne. We shall see. All right, next up is Tutrilla. He says, since you're already mowing in colder weather, you should overseed with rye. I'm all in to see some winter stripe action. Here's the thing. I think next year I'm going to give it a go. I think I am, because to your point, once a week I'm going out there and I'm mowing it anyway. With a rye overseed and some primo, I could probably get away with mowing it once a week, I'm guessing. So we'll see. And it'd make for some fun content, right? I'll probably hate myself the spring of 2024 when I have to get rid of it, but it's too late this year. Next year, I think I am gonna give it a go as far as the rye, because it looks pretty sweet. Looking at Dwayne's, this is Dwayne's lawn from last picture you sent from last week, and that does look pretty sweet. I gotta admit, man, those stripes are pretty incredible. The color's pretty nice. So we'll see. It may just be just the front. Maybe just the front. We'll see. We shall see. All right, next up is Joe Wanja. He says, outside of Houston, haven't gone dormant yet. Is mowing the biggest thing I should be doing, or should I still be putting product down? I have some weeds I'm working on, but I need a plan for after. Great, Joe. So what I would say is, if you're still mowing regularly, right? So you're still out there mowing at least once a week, then you can still feed the lawn. You can still fertilize it if you want. As far as anything else you should be doing, I'm a fan of a fall fungicide application. If you've not done that, that is something that I would do. But yeah, outside of continuing to feed it and mow it, and get like a fungicide app down, that's pretty much it. If you want a plan for next year that you can follow, it's generic, but it's I mean, a lot of people just go with that aren't in the academy. Like if you go to the the Golf Course Lawn Academy, like which is our core, which is the paid course, those guys get an actual calendar with dates and application rates and all this kind of stuff. Everyone else gets, if you want the free thing, you can go to the blog again and then go to page 2. And the very first blog post, which is step-by-step guide for getting a golf course lawn, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there is a calendar that gives a month-by-month breakdown as far as applying your pre-emergent, doing your fungicides, doing your insecticides, mowing, primo, like all that jazz, like what I would recommend for getting and maintaining a great-looking lawn. But this time of year, outside of like light feeding, light fertilizer applications and keeping up with your mowing, there's not a lot else that I would do outside of a fungicide app. And as far as fungicide goes, what I use is where are we here? Yeah, fungicides is Headway. This is what I use for my fungicide application this time of year. So that's it. So yeah, keep mowing it, keep feeding it, get your fungicide down, and then wait till springtime, or wait till late February-ish, and get your pre-emergent application down, and then you're off to the races. Get a soil test, and you're off to the races, and good to go. Hope that helps, sir. And at first time I think I ever remember seeing your name. So definitely appreciate having you as a viewer. So keep continuing. If I can help with anything else, definitely let me know. Doug is like, I agree with 2 Trillo. Since you're already out there mowing like a crazy person when it's dormant, I should oversee with rye. You guys are right. You guys are correct. And we shall see for next year on that. It's too late this year. It's too late, guys. Even if I wanted to, it's too late. But next year, we shall have to see. We shall have to see next year. Against my better judgment, I think so. I think it's Dwayne. Dwayne is a bad influence. Seeing that has it's got me thinking it might be worth giving a go. All right, next up is Donna Hales. She says, I bought a 2010 Greensmaster 1000. We have got to clap it up for that. That's awesome. Congrats on the new mower, Donna. Says, okay, I need to replace the smooth roller with grooved. So many choices. Where do you recommend? Now, as far as getting a grooved roller for a Greensmaster, there's only 2 places that I'm aware of. There might be other places too. You can get one from Jerry Pate, which is going to be an official Toro roller. Grooved roller is going to be more expensive. Or I imagine R&R Products probably carries it too. You know what? I can look here really quick. R&R Products. They might carry, because they carry a lot of products, a lot of parts for Toro. As far as grooved, as far as like you can get like bed knives from them, you get a reel from them. Let's see, R&R Green Products, Greens Master Roller. Let's see. I don't even know if they carry that. They might. Yeah, it looks like, and you have what, a 1000? Let's see. Let us see here. I said 100. You have 1000. Let's take a look here, Donna, and then I will get you a. Yeah, I think they do. I think they do carry it. I think they do carry one. So if we go over to here, if you're trying to save some money, they do show a grooved roller. And I don't know. Yeah, $164. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Toro is going to be more expensive than that. How much are you going to buy a Toro roller for $65? Now, I can't vouch for the quality as far as if it's going to be as good, like if the bearings and everything else are going to be as good. Like rollers are not terribly complicated, but the only thing I'd be worried about are the well, it needs to be obviously round, which I'm sure there's is, but also that the bearings are good quality, because you don't want to use, you don't have crappy bearings in your roller. So I'll put this in the chat for you if you want, and you can check this out as far as options for getting a grooved roller if you're looking to save a bit of coin. But if you're looking for the official, then I would go with Jerry Pate. And if you're asking me, which I would get if it were me, I would get the official Toro one. That's just me. Because one, it's a greens mower. I don't know what you paid for it, but they're nice machines. They're nice machines. You want to maintain them, want to keep them nice, and really, if you take care of it, where you don't leave it outdoors, like after you're done mowing, you put it up, like it should last a really long time. You really shouldn't ever have to replace that roller for as long as you have the mower. So I don't know how the R&R Products grooved roller is. I know the Toro one's going to be good, right? But I don't know how the R&R one is. I've never used that one. So, you know, it's your call. It's ultimately your call, but those are the only two places that I know of that carry them. There might be other places, but I say Jerry Pate Company, or any other Toro dealer, they're going to have them, or R&R Products if you're looking to save a little bit of money. And again, people that buy products from them tend to say pretty good things about them. But again, if it were me, for something that you're really probably never going to have to replace, I would probably go with the Toro, assuming the price difference isn't too much. Like if the Toro is, let's say the Toro part is like $200, so it's like $35, $40 more, then I would go with the genuine part. If it's like $500, then I don't know. You probably could replace it a few times for that. So it's kind of your call. I would see what the price difference is between the genuine, the actual Toro part, and the R&R Products part, and then make a decision based on that. All right, Lowell is back. He says Alabama here. Let me see. I got get you back up. He says Alabama here. Great. Let me see. I'm missing. There we go. Appreciate your great information on lawn care. You are very, very welcome, Lowell. I'm glad you're here. Go Dogs! I know I like you know, you showing all the support for Georgia. It's always good, and yeah, it's fun, man. I enjoy talking about lawn care. Enjoy helping people out. And this time of year, it's kind of quiet, right? So we can kind of kick back and talk about other stuff too if you guys want, because there's not a whole lot to discuss when it comes to grass right now, because most people's lawns are dormant. They're either covered in snow or they are dormant. All right. And then Devin is chiming in. He says, Donna, get a grooved roller. Grooved rollers reduce thatch and have a more consistent and tighter cut because of the grooves. Goes over undulations better too. Yes. Yep. Most definitely. And there is, you know, I keep talking about this, but there's actually a video by the USGA where they test grooved versus smoothed rollers. And it's like an older video. It looks like it was filmed. It wasn't even actually filmed widescreen. It was like an older video on this subject. And if I can find it, I'll post it. But the U.S. Golf Association actually did a test on this, and they said that the what do they use? They used a prism gauge, and they did the two things. They used a prism gauge to one. They set the mowers up at the same height of cut, and using a prism gauge after they made a couple of passes on the same green, they got more clippings from the grooved roller, and the cut quality was better with the grooved roller. Meaning, like if you looked at the like if you look at a prism gauge, like there was less deviation between like high and low clippings as far as with a grooved roller than with the smooth. So if you want a better cut, go with the grooved roller. And I noticed it too, because I had a good example, Devin, to kind of to piggyback on what he's saying. Like on my True Cut, ever since I got it, when I bought it in when did I buy that thing? In 2017, 2018, up until last year. When did I get the groove roller? I think it was last year, either last year or the year before, whenever Real Rollers gave me a groove roller to try out. Up until then, I used a smooth roller on it, and I thought I was the bee's knees. I was like the hot guy on the block with my smooth roller cutting, and thinking it could not get any better than this. Then I got my greens mower, and it was a night and day difference, obviously. And I was saying, well, how much of a difference is it really between? Is it because of the greens mower, or is it because it's a grooved roller? It really is because it's a greens mower, right? But then once I got a grooved roller for my True Cut, there was a noticeable difference in improvement in the cut quality on the same mower. So for example, with the greens mower, I've never been able to compare using it with a smooth roller because it didn't come with that. But with the True Cut, I have cut with both a smooth and a grooved, and for me, grooved all day long, every day. Like if you were just starting out, I would go. Even if you're starting out, I would get a grooved roller because the cut is just that much better than what you get with a smooth roller. And I'm trying to find that video, and it didn't from the USGA, and I'm not finding it. Look on YouTube. It's gonna be one that the USGA did, and it's a really old video. It's an older video from them, and they actually tested it, and it pretty much that's the reason why on golf course greens they're pretty much all cut with mowers that have grooved rollers. They don't get cut with smooth rollers. But I can't find it here. I'm trying to find it here, and I am not able to see it here on YouTube. If I do find it, I'll post it next week. I'll make that something to look for. Long, short, get a grooved roller. That is what I would say. I'll just save you a bunch of time. I mean, you can look at what the USGA says, but my testing says grooved is better. Devin, who again takes care of golf courses for a living, says grooved is better. And pretty much anyone that you watch on YouTube, I think for the most part, the consensus is going to be that grooved is a better way to go over smooth as far as just a better cut. The only negative, and it's not even really a big negative because you don't even really notice it, is that a grooved, if you're trying to mow and turn the mower like without having to lift it up, like you say you're trying to mow a radius like a curve, it is a little bit harder to turn a grooved mower with a grooved roller than one with a smooth roller. But here's the thing: unless you actually like do it back to back, like unless you do what I did with the True Cut, where I had my smooth one before and then I went to grooved, you're not going to notice it. You're just going to think that's just the way it is. So yeah, all that to say, get yourself a grooved roller and profit. You will like it. It's the way to go. All right, next up is HT Matumbo. He says, "Good evening, Ron. Great content as always. I appreciate that, sir. Appreciate you coming to hang out. Hopefully everyone remembers to hit that like button ever so lightly." You know what, man? My man, you're here. You know, I haven't asked about getting the like button hit, but I'm glad that you are leading the smash the like button charge. And guys, to kind of piggyback on what he's saying, it's a free way to support the channel. It's a great way to support the channel. It doesn't cost you guys anything. And it really does help out as far as sending good signals to YouTube to show the live stream to more people because it has more engagements. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button ever so gently, it doesn't cost you anything. Gives me a chance to take a sip of my water. I'd really, really appreciate it. And then you have a question, which I'll get to after I drink my water. His follow-up question is, when is the best time to apply a potassium-only product towards the end of the season? You could do it now, Matumbo. If I had a time machine, I would have had you doing it. I would have had you doing it at in late October. You're about a month behind of when I would have done it if you were my next door neighbor. But if you want to get some, like I'll show you what you can use. If you want to get something like this. I don't know if we have any in stock. I think we do. So go to shop and go to lawn fertilizer. You got a couple of options. You got the stress blend, which is 7020. It's a high potassium fertilizer. And if all you want is just straight potash, you've got this guy, which is really the one I would go with because it's just sulfate of potash, which is actually a nicer. It's a higher quality form of potassium versus the MOP, which is in most fertilizers, less salts, that kind of thing. If you're looking for something to close out the season with, like something like this would be a good option. So yeah, the best time to apply it, in my opinion, would have been like a month or so ago, but the next second best time is tomorrow. So that's what I would say to go with Matumbo, HT Matumbo. All right, next up is Higgy Pop. Oh, here we go. Here we go. What are your thoughts on electric versus gas mowers? Now, here's the thing, Higgy. Let me just get relaxed here because it's gonna be a long answer on this one. If you had asked me this question this time last year, I would have said gas is the way to go. Electric, it's kind of a novelty. It's cute. They're fun. You know, they're for people that have smaller lawns. They're okay. You know, there's the whole thing of like the cost of them and then battery life and runtime and all this kind of stuff. I would give you a ton of reasons why electric would have been in many ways less good, inferior to gas. However, now that I have my Allet and it has enough runtime to where I can cut the entire lawn several times over without having to charge it, I'm a big fan of the electric. I am. They are more expensive up front, but here's the thing. You don't realize that you smell like gasoline after you're done mowing until you don't smell like gasoline anymore. Like literally whenever I use the Allet, and like, you know what, I noticed it. You guys remember when I was mowing with it all the time. I was using that. The Greensmaster was pretty much just only being used for the front lawn and maybe the swale area. And then when I had to send the Allet, the cutting cartridge out to get sharpened. So for a few weeks there, I was cutting only with the Greensmaster. I noticed it. So there's the smell aspect of it. So you get fumes. You have to get gasoline and keep it. There is that. whenever you have a gas mower, whenever I'm doing like when I'm cleaning, if you tip it back to like to rinse it and flush it out and like clean out the real area, like it can flood, so you can have problems with that. So it can give you problems with starting. None of those are issues with an electric, so they don't, they start up every time they run. They're pretty much consistent for the most part, assuming you get one with enough runtime. But they're more expensive. So the benefit, where I would say electric or gas is better than electric. If the only electric mower that I had access to were like the Sterling, were like this guy here, which has it's a good mower, but the battery in it is smaller. I think the biggest one you can get is like a 12 amp hour, it's a relatively it's a smaller battery, just not enough runtime to cut my entire lawn. I think on a full charge with the biggest capacity battery, you get about 40 minutes of runtime. And when they say 40 to 45 minutes, that really means, in ideal conditions where you're just taking up just a little bit of clippings, that kind of thing. That's not quite enough to mow my entire lawn, which means that partway through mowing, I have to stop and swap batteries if I were mowing with this. If that were the case, I would not have an electric, because for me, it'd be annoying. It'd be incredibly annoying to have to stop like halfway through and swap batteries and all this kind of stuff. Whereas with the bigger mower, I never have to do that. I could verticut, turf rake, and mow on a single charge, and there's no problem. So I guess it depends. On a larger property, depending on how big your property is, the bigger and bigger your lawn gets, the more a gas mower to me makes sense, because they are they run the exact same way from when you start them up until they run out of fuel. As far as runtime, they tend to go for a bit longer. So yeah, but if you have a smaller lawn, let's say 5,000 square feet or less, right? To where one of these guys will do the entire lawn with no problem, and you have the budget for it, then this is a really compelling option. Not only because of the whole gas versus electric thing, but as far as the cultural practices you're able to do, right? As well as being able to verticut and turf rake, and then also get a really good cut out of it. Like this particular mower, the Sterling, has a lot of benefits in that regard. Just gas versus electric aside, like that's a really good reason to get something like that. But it's up to you. You know what I mean? Because they are more expensive to buy up front. The batteries are pricier, but I mean, if you're going to keep them over for a while and it fits for your lawn, for your lifestyle, for what you want to do, then they're really cool. Like I'll put it this way: I have my gas mower. I have two gas mowers and my electric, right? And I would be very hard pressed to give up my outlet at this point. Very hard pressed to give it up at this point, because of all the versatility that comes with it. Like it cuts really well, and because it's like a multi-tool, it's like a Swiss Army knife of a mower. It'd be really hard to give it up based on that alone. Now, if I had I'm trying to think here. If I had a gas outlet, like say I had like one of their like that mower, but in a gas powered option, if I had something similar to be able to recreate that or do the same type of work I could do with it, then it would become less. They become less of a wash. It'd be a lot closer then. But given that mower for me does things that none of my other mowers can do, that would be the one that would be really hard to get rid of for me. So ultimately up to you. Electric is where it's all going eventually. So on residential lawns anyway, I'll predict 5 years from now, probably even sooner than that, we will have more people buying electric mowers or using electric mowers than we will have gas mowers, especially if you figure the cost of gas keeps going up. And who knows if the regulators have their way, they might start making it to where, if you have a gas mower and you already have it, then you can continue to use it. You're grandfathered in, but you can't sell any more gas mowers. Like that could totally happen. You know what I mean? Like that's something that I could definitely see happening in the next 5 years or so, because from an emissions standpoint, most gas mowers are not very clean. They're not like your car, like where they have like emissions equipment like catalytic converters and this kind of stuff to ensure they're not polluting unnecessarily. Whereas electric is relatively clean. It's very, very clean. So I think it's going to be it's an eventuality, Higgy. It's really up to you whether you want to take the dive now or not. If you are going to, if you're going to get one, I would get something like this, something like a Sterling, like that's not only a mower, but allows you to also verticut, turf rake, and do a bunch of other things because like all else being equal, that is going to raise the standard of your lawn. Like it's gonna like if your feeding program aside, like being able to do all those other things, verticutting and turf raking and like that's gonna make a noticeable difference, a noticeable visual difference in the way your lawn looks. So hope that helps. I know it was a long answer, but it's a topic I like talking about, and hopefully gave you some stuff to think about. I think eventually you're gonna end up with one anyway, but if you do get one that has the interchangeable cartridge system. If you are going to go that route. All right, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, what's the pearl size on the 2406 flagship? I had a granular fert I tested this past season that would not go down past the canopy and would burn the grass. It is standard. It's like around 200, 210. It's the same size prill as ProScape has. So if you watch, you know what, I can help you with this one, Robert. Now it's kind of good, but kind of not as useful because I'm comparing ProScape versus Country Club, the Country Club fertilizer, which is like an SGN 80. It's like pretty much like a greens grade fert, which is like basically, you know what, I got to get a bag of that, and I'll maybe next week I'll do that. I'll get a bag of that greens grade fertilizer, and I'll show you the difference between them. I'll get some flagship. Or something that's equivalent in pearl size, and I'll have Humic Max, and then I will also have the greens grade fertilizer just so you can actually see them side by side. However, because I don't have that now, if you want to see how big the pearl size is, which you can expect, you can watch this video at Robert Rainey where I compare the prill of Country Club, the greens grade, and the ProScape, which is like another fertilizer line from Lebanon Turf, which is also a great fertilizer, awesome fertilizer. If you can find that, that's a great fertilizer to run too. So, and you'll see that it is bigger, and it is a larger prill than this. It is larger than Humic Max, but it's I've seen larger than what's in the flagship 2406, and for sure. So it's not the largest, but it's not as small as Humic Max. So, and I know it's one of those answers, like this answer is useless without an actual example, but I'm trying to give you some things to consider. That video will show you how big the prill is, but it should work for you, Robert. It should work for you in your lawn. I used some flagship on my lawn, and it worked out fairly well, and I didn't have problems with it like sitting on top of the canopy or anything like that. So, depending on how tight your lawn is and how much you're thinning it out regularly, if you're verticutting it once a month and you're also turf raking, you shouldn't have a problem. If you're letting your lawn get your grass get really thick, almost like a really dense carpet, then yeah, then you are going to need something with a finer prill to get past that. So it all depends. Next up is Mr. Brooklyn Boy. He says, I live in Dallas, Texas. How do I kill Poa annua? Okay, so if you live in Dallas, I'm answering this as if you have warm season grass. So I'm assuming you have Zoysia, St. Augustine, or Bermuda. If you have those three, the product that I would use, the herbicide that I would use against Poa annua, Brooklyn Boy, is this. It's called Certainty. This is, like, in my opinion, one of the better post-emergent herbicides to target Poa annua in warm season grass. If you have cool season grass, do not use this. It will damage and or kill your cool season lawn. But for warm season grass, really hard to beat Certainty. So we do have it in stock. If you want, well, how I would go about it for getting rid of your Poa, we'll go back to the store and we'll go to shop and then weed killer. And what I would do is I would take Certainty and I would combine a surfactant with it. So Certainty and then an ounce or two of the high yield spreader sticker, and you should be good to go. So as far as mixing this, in the description, there's an actual video that shows you how I use it. There's a couple options. You can go with the application. You can go with you can go with 3 small scoops in 2 gallons of water. Like that will work. And that's going to give you a good result. Like that with a couple of ounces with an ounce or so of surfactant, that should get it done for Poa. If you want to go a little bit heavier on the rate, then you can go with you can go with 1 of the large scoops. 1 big scoop. I should show you here. Because it comes with this measuring spoon. this guy. All right, so you can go. Should this get this show here? You can go with 3 of these. If I can get to focus, focus. There we go. And you go with 3 of these, right, with 2 gallons of water, or you can go with 1 of these with 2 gallons of water. So this is going to be a heavier rate, a heavier application. This is the rate that I normally use. I usually normally use 3 of these with 2 gallons of water for spot spraying, and it works really well. Or if you want to go a bit heavier, you can go with 1 of these in 2 gallons of water, and that will get it done. Either way will work for POA. And I would just add surfactant with it. If you want, throw a little bit of marker dye in there for good measure, just so you can see where you have sprayed. So if you're trying to be a boss, you can go this, and some marker dye, so you can see what you've targeted, and you'll be good to go. Certainty is what I would use against POA in a warm season lawn, this time of year. For a post-emergent herbicide, this is what I would use. You can use Image Amazaquin, but it's going to be really, really slow, and it's going to be very slow. It's going to take more than 1 application to kill it, and really, this is going to be a lot faster. You can apply this, and within 10 days, 2 weeks, you're going to start seeing it yellowing, and then it'll really ramp up and begin dying off. There's another product for killing that's effective against POA called Negate, which is all right as well too, but I'm not a fan of that, because if you're using it properly, if you're mixing it per the label, you're supposed to take the entire contents of the bottle and then mix it with a gallon of water into an intermediate mix. And then out of that, you can take that and then dilute that intermediate mix with like just straight water, and you can spot spray with it. So the problem with that is that intermediate mix is only really supposed to be left around for no more than 4 to 6 weeks. And so in the end, you end up with a bunch of herbicide that you really can't use, and you have a big issue with getting rid of it, having to dispose of it, right? Whereas Certainty, one, is going to work faster than Negate, and is you can mix it in much smaller amounts. So this is what I would use along with a surfactant, and we can get it at the Golf Course Lawn Store. We got it in stock. Even comes with a sticker if you buy it. And there you go. That is what I would use against POA in warm season turf, and it's good for other things too. It's not just for POA. If you next year, whenever the lawn starts when it starts greening up again, and sedges start coming through, it's this is excellent against sedges. It kills all of them. If it's good against goosegrass, it kills a bunch of other types of weeds too, grassy and some broadleaf weeds, but mainly grassy weeds is what Certainty is really good for. So there you go. Hopefully that helps, sir. Next up is Robert. He says that was at a 1/2 inch height of cut also. Yeah, so if you're cutting at 1/2 inch, Robert, and it's really, and you're letting the lawn get really tight, the flagship should work. The Prill side is not as good, or is not as small as Humic Max. So, whereas Humic Max, you'll apply it on a really tightly cut lawn, and even if it's dense, it literally just disappears after you spray it, or after you apply it. With flagship, for the most part, it's going to do the same thing. I mean, you might see a prill here and there, but it's not like the prill are the size of like bowling balls, where you're gonna have it just sitting all over the top of your lawn. You know what I mean? Like, so if you look at if you ever looked at like granular prodiamine, like if you look at the yellow prodiamine, like how big those are, it's nowhere that size. It's not that big. It's quite a bit smaller than that, but it's not as small as like a Humic Max, which is 150 SGN. So hopefully that helps, but that's something I can do. I can get a video, I can get I've got some flagship, and I can get a bag of the Country Club of the greens grade, so I can show you all 3 of them. I can show you the entire gamut of different prill sizes. All right, next up is Smokin' Legs. Says, glad to say I cut again today. A few to cut in Canada in December, then applied some headway. Hooray for me. How are you still cutting this time of year in Canada? Wow, that's impressive. You must live somewhere near, I guess, the coast, or somewhere where you're not getting a lot of snow right now. Because I would imagine that all of Canada would be covered in snow by now, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's snowing and melting. Maybe not like Buffalo, right? Robert says, I did the bi-monthly Primo treatment and the bi-monthly carbon kit. Yeah, that's a good program, man. That's what I did this year. And the nice thing about that, Robert, is you already know, is the consistency in color. You're not getting too much growth, extra growth, and then you're not getting any big thing is no tip burn with Primo, right? So that's the nice thing about doing that. Literally the only negative is you have to be out there twice a month instead of once a month, but totally worth it because I'm out there, at least twice a month anyway, right? All right, next up is Stomp1 says, any suggestions on a strong POA killer? Yes, we covered this already. If you have warm season grass, Certainty is what I would go with. This is what I would recommend for killing POA. It is strong. It's going to get it done. Use surfactant with it. The same answer I just gave to Brooklyn Boy, and we have it in stock at the Golf Course Lawn Store. And if you order it, every order of Certainty comes with, if I can find one. Do I have any? I might be all out of them. I may not have one here on my desk. I don't think I do. It comes with a sticker, but I don't have one here to be able to show you guys, unfortunately. With the little black stickers. So the ones that I was showing on the live stream last week. But yeah, so it comes with the sticker if you care about that too. You get some swag with it. All right, next up is No Name. He says, hey Ron, let's see. And Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts, I'm missing the show tonight, but don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that. No Name, no problem. I know you're coming. You probably got other stuff going on, but at least you're coming to come hang out for a little bit. It's probably going to be a short show. No Name. Unlike my shows, which normally go for several hours, tonight we might knock off a bit early because there's not a lot of questions, not a lot of comments. We got no Devin on right now, to come help chat and save the day. None of that going on, so it might be a short show. You're very, very welcome, Donna. If you need anything else, definitely do let me know. And then Robert is back. He says, I'm glad Dwayne is a bad influencer now. I got grief for the rotary scissors this season. Only kidding, but seriously, you never try the Darwin grip. All in good fun. Yeah, I haven't got the Darwin grip and Darwin grip. And you know who else uses that? The Lawn Tools. They have one on theirs, and it does look like it makes a big difference. Maybe that's something I'll do as an off-season thing. Grab a Darwin grip for my string, for my combi system, because as tall as I am, they're not designed for people that are really tall. So I'm kind of having to like hold it down really low, and it's not super comfortable. So, and the Darwin grip does look like a really comfortable way to run a string trimmer or rotary scissors. The only thing I was wondering about, I have to look and see how you have yours set up, Robert, or how Lawn Tools have their set up, is storing it. Like, does it still hang nicely on the wall? Because I have mine, I hang mine on the wall in the garage, and I'm not sure if where it sits, if it will, well, it should go away from it. So it should go away from the power head. So it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't interfere. The more I think about it, it should be just fine. But yeah, you are a bad influence. You're the reason why I got those rotary scissors. They're pretty awesome, but yes, I am several $100s poorer now thanks to you. And you're like, hey, you absolutely got to go and get yourself a set of rotary scissors, man. They're super awesome. And they are. You are right. You are absolutely right about that. All right, next up is K. Randall. He says, hello all. I had a water pipe replaced in my front lawn. I have Tifway Bermuda. What Bermuda seed can I use to repair? Thanks for all your help. So here's what I would do, K. Randall. I would not get, you can't get Tifway from seed, right? It's a hybrid. You can't get it by seed. What I would do is this, couple of options. If you can, and it's going to be kind of hard to do this time of year because the grass isn't really growing. I would, if you can get plugs from your existing lawn and transfer them to that area where the water pipe was replaced, that is what I would do. That's really going to be the best option, because that way you are absolutely guaranteed that once the grass grows through, it's going to match your existing grass. The second best thing you can do is to get a couple pieces of sod that is Tifway. Like, you can go to a sod farm nearby and say, hey, I need a couple pieces of Tifway sod. And you can apply that, and hopefully it matches your existing Tifway. In my case, it did not. So that's option 2, less good. The third option is to go out and get grass seed, which if you're going to do it now this time of year, it's not going to grow. You have to wait till, if you decide to go that route, it's not going to, you're going to have to wait until May next year, because it's way too cool right now for Bermuda grass seed to germinate. And it's also unlikely to match your Tifway. Right? So there's a lot of reasons to not do it. One, you can't do it now, and then it's also unlikely to match. So the best option, unfortunately, is going to also requires patience, because if you go out and you get plugs from your existing lawn, from other areas of your lawn and transfer them there, it's going to take a while for it to grow through and spread and fill in. But that is going to be the option that's going to look like there was nothing ever happened there. Like if you want the option where no one's going to be able to ever tell that anything happened in that area, plugging it is going to be the best way to go. And then second best is sod, and then third best is seed. And seed, you can't do now anyway. So hope that helps. If it were me, I would plug it or do sod. Those are the two options that I would go with to repair that. And then Robert says, I still hate that I missed the Real Rollers meetup. I was under the weather that weekend. Yeah, no worries, man. I'm sure that they'll do it again. So I got to find out from Lee if you plan to do it again next year. It should be, it was a fun time. So hopefully they'll plan to do it again next year. I think it was great meeting all you guys. And it was a blast. Hopefully we'll have a better turnout, because what happened was, if you guys remember, it was planned for one date, and then Hurricane, was it Ian? Or whatever it was, it was predicted to take a track that was gonna go right over Georgia, or to where Georgia would get some weather from it. Turns out that wasn't the case, and we postponed it a week. And so I think that lowered the turnout some, because it was pushed out a week later. But we'll see. Next year we'll try it again, and we'll see. All right, next up is Mr. Archie Amos in the live stream. He says, "Evening, young man. Checking in. By the way, all the snow is gone in Buffalo. Looking at green grass. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy that 7 feet of snow melted that quickly. That is awesome. Fingers crossed that you don't get any more green grass, any more snow, or it's not snow that heavy in Buffalo for the rest of the season, Archie. I mean, I don't know. You might be someone that really likes snow, but for me, snow is best enjoyed indoors. Again, I'm kind of biased. Me being an island guy. I think snow is really cool when it's falling and you look and it's fresh snow and you see how pretty the houses look and the lawn looks and everything is all covered. It's really nice, but then as soon as you got to go out in it, the fun quickly goes away. I've never gone skiing. Everyone says you should go skiing and snowboarding, man. You totally like it. Like, skiing is totally rad. It's tons of fun, and snowboarding is really awesome too. And I'm like, yeah, I have too many friends that every time they go skiing, they all come back with like knee injuries, and I still don't see the point. I'm looking for things, Colin. I still haven't been able to understand the point of leaving a perfectly warm house or warm indoors to go outside where it's cold. I don't get it, right? So not a fan of snow. All right, next up is T1000. He says, "Hi, Ron. I notice whenever it rains heavily, I get a few tire stripes. How can I prep Bermuda lawn now to prevent this in the future?" So right now, there's not a ton you can do because you're not mowing a ton now, T1000. But what you can do to help prevent that is, if you catch your clippings, if you bag your clippings, or just don't throw all the debris back into the lawn, that will prevent you from getting the zebra stripes. So it's kind of up to you whether or not you think that's worth it. I will tell you that in my lawn, like next year, I'll do the same thing I did this year, because the benefits of there's a couple of problems with this approach. I'm gonna give you the pros and cons. If all you care about is not getting the zebra stripes or getting or tiger stripes in your lawn, then not having a bunch of debris from grass clippings in your lawn is the way to have that happen. The positives of that are, one, you're not going to have the tiger stripes when you get heavy rain, and then two, this year I had, outside of the little bit of spring dead spot that I had no issues with large patch or brown patch or any other fungus problems or any disease problems in my lawn this year, due to the regular verticutting and turf raking and just not allowing thatch to build up. Because in other words, outside of the tiger stripes, by limiting how much thatch you allow to develop in your lawn, you also reduce the likelihood of you having disease problems. So that's another benefit of doing it. Now, the negative is that it's a lot of work. The negatives are a couple of things. One, it's a lot more work because now you've got it slows down your mowing, because you got to mow a few passes, 5 or 6 passes, then empty the catcher out, and then you have to dispose of it. So you have to either hopefully your trash people will dispose of it, but a lot of them won't. So you have to have some way of getting rid of it, which is another pain. And then also you're throwing away a bit of nutrients as well too, right? So if by mulching your clippings back into the lawn, it's almost like getting an extra fertilizer application versus bagging or catching all your clippings. But for me, now that I've done like the turf raking, verticutting, like the whole allet system, of just managing thatch levels and keeping a lot of debris out of the lawn. And because I really like the way it looks, I'm going to continue doing that going forward next year. So yes, it's really your call as which way you want to go. But the way to prevent it, the answer for is right now, there's not a ton you can do. For next year, what I would say is whenever you scalp the lawn, or if you decide to scalp the lawn, make sure you have some way to get all the clippings, to capture all the clippings that come out of the scalping, because like that's, if you go and you scalp your lawn, and you store all that trash and debris right back into the lawn, then that's, you're gonna have you're creating conditions that are going to cause the problem with the tiger stripe. So if you want to not have tiger stripes in your lawn with heavy rain, keep a lot of debris out of it, and you won't have that problem. Because as you can see in my lawn, we had like a bunch of rain, a lot of heavy rain. I can actually pause it right there. Normally, we can actually go back. Let's stop this and go back again. Normally, the like all on the right side of where you see the lake, all throughout there, you guys have seen the lawn before. All throughout there, there would be tiger stripes, zebra stripes, whatever you want to call it, all throughout the lawn where the grass clippings bunch up. But there was none of that, because there's just not a ton of debris in the lawn for it to for that to happen, right? So nothing to do right now, but next year, you know what you can do to help prevent it if you decide to go that route, T1000. All right, next up is Stephen Edmonds. He says, stopping in for a like. I appreciate it, Stephen. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. I appreciate you getting the like. And then next up is Mazama Blue. He says, hey, Ron, did I miss any Cyber Monday specials? No, from the store. No, you didn't. We didn't do any this year because frankly we didn't raise the prices on a lot of stuff. So that's kind of like your discount. Unlike a lot of other places that raise prices, we didn't raise prices. And there's just not a lot of room to be able to offer really big discounts, unfortunately, Mazama. So that's the fact of the matter. So you didn't miss anything. The prices, for the most part, the prices were the same, or for the most part were kept the same throughout this season, and they'll still remain the same throughout the end of the year for sure. That's the plan. Next year, I'd like to keep pricing as much as possible the same as they are now. But if anything, they're going to go up. They're not going to go down, because stuff is just getting more expensive, unfortunately. All right, so we have a question here from Mr. K. Randall. A good question. He says, Ron, who should I use for a soil test? It really depends on you. I can tell you what I use and what I like, and then you can decide for yourself. So for soil tests, and I actually pulled cores a few days ago and sent them out. So you guys get to see my winter soil test results once they come in. I use the soil test kit from My Soil. I like this for a couple of reasons. One, easy. It's easy to use. It's easy to, and the results are easy to interpret and understand. So when you collect samples all throughout your lawn, send them out, comes with an envelope. Everything you need comes with the kit. You send it out. About a week from the time you mail it, you're going to get an email from My Soil saying, hey, K. Randall, we have your soil sample results. And in there, you'll see you'll have like a bar chart, a graph. Actually, you know what? Can I show you? I think I can show you. You have a bar chart that shows what the samples look like. You'll have the actual numbers. You'll actually have the actual numbers for each of the nutrients. And then you also get a set of recommendations for your lawn. Like it'll say, hey, here are your deficiencies, and here are the things you can do that will help improve they'll help amend the soil, help fix the deficiency problems that you have going on in your lawn. So, and another one of the benefits, and what I'm about to show you right now, is this, right? So, whereas if you look at the soil samples here, all these samples going back from 2020 until all of last year, all of 2020, 2021, 2022, and now soon to be 2023, or the end of this year once it comes in, all of them are here. So if you want to be able to see how your soil has changed over time, so if I take let's pick a couple. Let's go to let's see, do I have Alex's, or we can show Alex's. So we say, let's look at Alex's lawn in the spring of this year. Alex's lawn in the spring of last year, Alex's lawn in the summer of last year, and then Alex's lawn in the winter of 2021. So we have those three, right? So I have those three selected, and I can say compare selected samples. And what you can see is how the soil, everything changed over time. changed over the course of over the course of the growing season, right? So that is one cool benefit. All of your results are kept um, in perpetuity as long as you have the test kit. And then as far as just being able to see the samples, being able to read them, you have your bar graph, making it really easy here, showing are you below optimal, above optimal, or are you optimal? You've got your pH being shown, your nitrogen, all your macro and micronutrients, and if you care about the parts, the levels of those parts per million, the ranges for that, and then also you get recommendations for products that you can apply to help correct any deficiencies. So I'm a fan of the My Soil test kit of these for that reason. They're easy to use, you get your results quickly, and then as far as being able to get historical data that to allow you to track over time how the soil is changing, they make it really easy to do that. So you have to keep all the sheets of paper that you get maybe from an extension office. And then, but the biggest thing I would say is this, right? Regardless of which you decide to use, whether you decide to go with a My Soil test kit or you decide to go with your local extension office, like pick one, pick whichever testing methodology you're going to use, or pick whatever you're going to use and stick with it. So if you decide you're going to go with your local extension office, continue to do that, so that whenever you compare, like the spring test to the fall test from the same lab, that's using the same process, then you're comparing apples to apples. If you go out and you decide you're going to use your extension office for the spring test, and then My Soil for the fall test, and a different extension office for the next year, then you're in many ways you're going to be chasing your tail, because the way that the samples are processed, the way the nutrient levels are derived, is going to be different. What you'll find is that the curve between, in other words, if you took a soil sample from, when I took a soil sample on my lawn, right, and I sent it off to UGA, and I did another sample with the My Soil kit, what you will find is that the nutrient, the actual levels, what they're measuring may not match exactly, but the curves will be the same. So if my nitrogen levels are very, very high, or my potassium levels are very, very high, both soil tests will reflect that. But if you're really using testing the way you should be using it, which is a tool to get data to be able to decide what you spend your money on as far as fertilizer and pH adjustments, then using the same test kit, or the same either lab or the same test kit, same company, makes sense. That's the only thing I would say to use. But for me, if you're asking me, get the probe tool to go along with it. I'll actually show you the one that I recommend people to get if they are starting out. So if we go to the golf course lawn store, you go to shop and you go to soil test kits and pH adjustments. If you're just starting out, you can get the starter pack. If you're trying to get set up to where you're just going to buy one and be good for next year, you can get the Pro Pack, because this is cool. It's a bit more money, but you get 2 soil test kits and the probe. So if you're just starting out and you want to be able to say, I want to cover all of 2023 and be good to go, you can just buy this one setup and you get both the probe and 2 kits, and you're good to go. Once you have the probe, from that point going forward, all you need are just the actual kit. Don't keep buying these. All you need is just the test kit. So hope that helps as far as in your decision making process. I like the My Soil kits. That's what I recommend. That's what I use. That's what I tell people to use. But the biggest thing is, whatever you decide to go with, pick one and stick with it. Don't jump from to the next one to the next one to the next one. People will get all wrapped around the axle, because they'll use one testing methodology, and they'll use one get a sample from one lab, and they'll go out the next time from another lab, and then they'll go with the My Soil one. They'll be like, look, they don't match. They don't all say the same thing, because it's like the example I often use for this is, if you are into cars, right? If you're into tuning cars, which I don't know if you are or not, but there's this piece of equipment. It's called a dynamometer, right? And what it is, it's a piece of equipment that the car gets strapped to, and it's used to measure horsepower and torque. And if you have a dyno, I can take my car on the same day, and I can go to a dyno. It's I don't know, let's say Solo Motorsports down like Jimmy Carter, right? And I can run my car on that dyno, right? On there, I think they have a Mustang dyno. I can run my car on that Mustang dyno, and they're going to give me a horsepower and a torque number. And I can take my same car, same day, same conditions, same temperature, same everything, and then go to a dyno jet and run my car on that, and it's going to produce different horsepower and torque numbers. In most cases, the dyno jet, the numbers are going to be higher. But what you're going to find is that the curve, the overall curve, where the car is making peak horsepower, or it's making peak torque, that curve will be the same. And what you'll find among the different soil testing methodologies is the curve of what is going on as far as the nutrients in your soil. That should match for the most part. The actual levels, though, the actual numbers will be different. So pick one, stick with it. My soil is the one I would say to get. We have them in stock at the Golf Course Lawn Store. I hopefully give you some good reasons why to get them. Get one. But there you go. Now you have the data, or you have my thoughts on the matter. Now you can decide. Okay, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, "Thanks as always with all your patience and insights, sir." No problem, Robert. You got. I mean, the thing is, whenever someone asks a question, I always like to answer questions in the way that I would want someone to answer a question for me, right? So it's, even though I may answer the same question over and over and over again, I would not want someone to be like, oh, well, or be a jerk or be short or anything like that. So, because like most cases, like you think about it, like Donna, she just got her mower, right? And it's a new to her mower. The mower is not a brand new mower, but it's new to her. So for her, it's a brand new mower. So the same thing, that's the same approach I take for like questions. Whenever someone asks a question, I look at it from the standpoint that even though I may know the answer to that, or I may have answered that question time and time again, like for that person, it's the first time they've ever asked it and they're just looking for help. So that's why I try and give a detailed answer whenever I can. All right. Next up is Yush. He says, "I received my Celsius and Certainty kit. Is it okay to start spraying now, or should I wait till next season? St. Augustine growth has slowed down considerably." Well, it depends. Are there weeds in your lawn right now that you want to kill now? If so, then yes, then you can spray them now. If not, then, in other words, if there's no weeds in your lawn, then there's no reason to spray herbicides on your lawn. And if you want to wait till next season, you're definitely going to get use out of it, because you're probably going to have to deal with sedges or Kalinga in your lawn at some point, at a minimum. And then in this early spring, you may deal with some POA, depending. I don't know if St. Augustine lawns have suffer from POA as much as Bermuda does, because it tends to be a little bit taller. But yeah, the answer to your question, Yush, is if you have weeds in your lawn now, like if they're actively growing weeds in your lawn and you want to get rid of them, you absolutely can. Yes, you can use the kit. What I would say is, even though you have Celsius and Certainty in the kit, make sure you can use both of them together, and that's what I show in the videos, and that's how, definitely during the summer months, what I recommend doing, because it makes, as far as coverage, you get more coverage with that blend. But if all you're targeting is, say, something like Poanua, then all you need to be spraying for that is the Certainty aspect of it. Like Celsius is not going to do anything against Poanua, but Certainty will. So it depends on what weeds you're targeting as far as which one to use. Kind of like if all you're dealing with is like nutsedge or Kalinga in your lawn, then only Certainty again works well for that. But if you're dealing with broadleaves, or you're dealing with broadleaves and a mixture of Kalinga, maybe some young crabgrass in there, then that's where mixing them together can produce really good results. But the answer to your question is, if you have weeds now and you want to kill them now, and Celsius and or Certainty are labeled to kill said weeds, then by all means, go for it. By all means, knock yourself out. And T1000 says, "Great advice as always. Thanks, T1000. I'm glad you found it helpful." And then Robert says, "Oh, wow, I like the analytics of the MySoil interface." Yeah, that's the thing too, right? Because it's not just getting, where's my nitrogen, potassium, my phosphorus levels, and how much iron do I have in my lawn? Like, that's important. Where's my pH? Like, that stuff's important. But being able to track over time, like easily track over time how the soil is changing, like that's especially nice. That's especially nice. And that's something you get when you get their test kit, right? You don't pay extra for that. Like whenever you get your sample, you're going to get access to that interface, and you're going to be able to log in and see your results. And as you test, I recommend twice a year, like spring and fall, then you'll be able to compare. You'll have trend data. You'll be able to compare over time. You know what I mean? Like how the soil is changing based on your inputs. So I think for that purpose, for those reasons, it's a really good option for home lawns. Also, because whenever you send your sample in, when you register the kit, they ask you, are you doing is this for ornamentals? Is it for lawns? Depending on how you answer that question, it tailors how, like, the recommendations that you get. So it's nice from that level too. You're not going to get like an answer saying something like, apply this ungodly amount of nitrogen to your lawn that might make sense for like a farm field or a ton of potassium or a ton of lime that you could not potentially put down on a home lawn. In any no Most people can't put down that much lime that you'll see sometimes being recommended in some of the results that come back from the extension offices, because a lot of their target audience are like farmers, right? So they do home residential lawns too, but a lot of the results you'll see that you have to take what the recommendations are and then convert that into numbers or application rates that make sense for a residential lawn. Whereas with my soil, they do it for you. So that's yet another reason why, again, I like them. I like easy, right? All right, next up is Yesha. She says, I got a Sunjoe 24-volt 15-inch reel mower from, they have a reel mower? Wow, it's cool. From Lowe's. I know it ain't much, but I'm excited to try it out on St. Augustine. Wishing Ego would make an affordable reel mower since I'm in their system. We got to clap it up. We got to give you some love for that. That's pretty awesome. Congrats on the new kit, Yush. I didn't know that Sunjoe had a 15-inch an electric reel mower. I know they have the turf rake, the Scarifier, but I know they did a reel mower, which is cool. That's good. Good, they're getting into the game. And Ego, I don't know if Ego's going to do one, because technically the Ego reel mower is, I mean, it's out. Like, I mean, because you know the power system, the electronics and the batteries and the control system is from Ego. So I don't know if they're going to get into their own reel mower since Owlet makes one, but there's probably, I don't know, there probably is room for a less expensive, like a less expensive electric powered reel mower. But then the big thing with this is not that it's only electric powered, is the interchangeable cartridge systems. That's the thing that's really sets that apart. So that's technically your Ego, sort of like your Ego powered, reel mower. If you want something that's in the Ego system, you can use your batteries and everything. The Sterling is what you need for that. All right. Next up is Devin. He says, I got one for you, Ron. Oh, Lord. Here we go. Considering you have good IPM and don't need fungicide or insecticide, what products are you going to use in your agronomy program? Liquid, soluble, granular, all game. So I get 5. Okay, so 5. Okay, and you said I don't have to burn any of my answers on insecticide or fungicide. I probably would still do, okay, we'll see. So 5. Okay, so I gotta have a granular. So hopefully it's gonna be Humic Max next year or some other granular. It's gonna be some granular first. So granular fertilizer, that's gonna be thing 1. And then I'm going to use a liquid fert, probably 901C or Turfplex. So that's thing 2. Gotta have Primo in there. That's 3. What else do I get? You said I don't get to pick a fungicide or insecticide. So then the other 2, I'm gonna burn. Man, do I have to because I want to use my carbon kit. I want my carbon kit, Devin. Why are you only limiting me to 5? Because I still want Essential G in there. Can I have 6? If I can have 6, I'm gonna have a granular fertilizer. I'm gonna have a liquid fertilizer. I'm gonna have Primo. And then the rest of the carbon kit, so Biospectrum and NutriKelp, and then Essential G. That's gonna be my 6. You said I can only have 5, but I'm taking 6. Now, if I have to cut one of those out, and I can only have 5, then I will say I will not, as much as it pains me, I'll probably not do the Biospectrum and do the Essential G, because since I'm not getting to apply fungicide, so I'm not going to have a lot of my the healthy bacteria in my lawn being killed off by fungicide. So I'm not going to have as much a need to replace that. So that'd be my 5. That's my 5. So a granular fert, a liquid fert, Primo, gotta have that. And then Essential G and NutriKelp. So the other components of the carbon kit. So that would be my 5. Man, you're being mean, man. It's tough. And this assumes I don't get insecticide or fungicide. You said that, so I'm not counting those in there. Now, if those are a separate category to where I'm at 7, then I get a headway and a celiprin. I get that, right? That's my options for those. But for 5, I could get it done with 5. If you don't count fungicides or insecticides, then a granular, a liquid fert, and a primo, because I need something to mix with the primo. So liquid fert for that, and then my kelp product, and then my granular biostimulant. So that would be what I would do. It'd be an interesting challenge to do that next year and see. I'm probably not going to be able to make myself do that, but that I would get good results. I would get good results with that program. I'll get results with that program. Good question, man. It's a good question. It's kind of a painful question. I hope you could see across the camera, like how painful it was for me to have to pare down like what I'm putting into the lawn. But I think given no fungicide, no insecticide, I could get it done with that and still have a pretty good looking lawn. Definitely could have a good looking lawn with that. All right, next up is Heartfelt Fashion. Granger's in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, is there a single month that you're not working on the lawn in some capacity? Is there a single month I'm not working on the lawn in some capacity?" No. No. When you say it like that, it makes me sound kind of crazy. So, let me think. January. Okay, if there's one month when I could not do anything, January, maybe, maybe January. But really, yeah. At least once a month. I gotta get. A cleanup cut. I gotta at least get that done. I gotta get out there and just do a little something. So, yeah, every month, yeah. Man, I sound like a crazy person when you say it like that. When the question's phrased that way, it seems like it may sound like I have a problem. But yeah, so the months with reduced activity, how about that? The month with reduced activity in the lawn are going to be the months of December and January. Those have the least amount of activity in the lawn, typically only mowing here and there, and that's about it. Maybe I'll get out there with an edger and edge and put it like a fresh edge on the lawn, but that's about it. That's all I do. Those months have reduced, but as far as like not doing anything for an entire month, man, that'd be hard. That would be tough. Okay, and then Devin's going to add on to it. He says, and then add on to the previous question, what 3 cultural practices would you do? Okay, that's an easy one. So, mowing doesn't count. Does mowing count for one of them? Mowing doesn't count for one of them. But if it does, I'll say my regular mowing, obviously, verticutting, and man, I don't know. Okay, mowing doesn't count. Mowing doesn't count. So mowing is a given. So we're not going to count mowing. So I would say verticutting, turf raking, and then top dress if I can get a top dress in. Those would be my 3. Those would be my 3. Some spot top dressing here and there. Yeah. But as long as you're not taking mowing as one of my options. But now if you are going to be a savage and be like, yeah, mowing counts too, then man, I don't know. In my lawn in the state that it is now, I would not top dress. Like top dressing is the thing that I would give up because the lawn already looks pretty smooth. Let's face it. You look at it now, it's pretty smooth now. Could it do with another top dress, like a light one? Yes, we all realize that it could probably benefit from that, but we're just splitting hairs at this point. I think I will get more. I will get more out of the lawn over the growing season with regular verticutting and regular turf raking and top dressing. I wouldn't want to give up. I wouldn't want to give up either one of those for top dressing. The more I think about it, because So there you go. So if we're not talking, if mowing doesn't count, then top dressing, verticutting, and turf raking, definitely. And as far as frequency, turf raking, as whenever I have time for it, at least once a week, more than likely is what I would shoot for. That's what I did this season, once a week. Verticutting monthly, every 3 weeks, every 3 to 4 weeks, and then top dressing for me once a season works well. And then maybe some spot dressing here and there, but one heavy or one big top dressing job. The beginning of the late spring, early summer, like May, June timeframe. And then mowing, I'm on that every other day type life. Once we get into May, even with Primo, I'm still mowing the lawn every other day, just to, one, because I like it. It's good exercise, and just to keep it looking nice. So mowing every other day, several times a week, and turf raking weekly, verticutting every 3 to 4 weeks, and top dressing one big job, and then spot top dressing throughout the season. And if you're counting mowing as one of my culture practices, then I'll get rid of top dressing since my lawn really doesn't need it. Although it does look so good after a fresh top dress. So hope that helps. And he says, I would go with a granular fert. Liquids would be iron. Oh, okay. Liquids would be iron, micronutrients. So you got granular fert, iron, a micronutrient, primo, and a kelp product. Okay, that's fair. So for me, the granular fert, yes. And the liquid that I use, oh, that's a good point. So I'd probably have to go with Turfplex. The liquid that I would use would have micronutrients in it. And Primo, that's a given. Like really, Primo needs to be to the front of the line, right? Should be like granular fert, Primo, and then something to mix with the Primo because you just got to have that. And then, and then everything else that you have listed here. Yeah, yep. So I like your list. I do like your list. Your list and my list are pretty. Yeah, they're pretty close. They jive really well. Nice. So that's what you're planning to do next year, huh? Once you get I see the house is coming along. So once you get your house going and you're establishing the new lawn, this is going to be the program, or there's going to be more. I bet there's going to be more. That would be my bet. All right. Next up is let's see. Heartfelt Fashion says I would definitely getting on the Essential G train this year. I know it's good, but goodbye. I know it's good, but goodbye Carbon Pro G. Yeah, essentially. I mean, they're both great products. Both of them by Miramichi Green. Both are excellent. Essential G I like better because it's like Carbon Pro G 2.0. It's got more stuff in it. It's a great product. Both of them are excellent products. And Essential GI, you guys saw my lawn all last year. That's what I've been using, and it looks great. So I'm gonna get a shipment in. I'm gonna get some more in here. Try and get loaded up for next season, and it's gonna be Essential G. I'm gonna get me probably I go through about a pallet in a season, so I'll get like a pallet and be good to go for this year, for this upcoming year. Good stuff. All right, next is Robert says at Devin, put Ron on the spot. All great exercises. Yeah, it's painful, man, because because the thing he talked about, once I read his answer, I was like, man, with only 5, I can't use my my Nutrizol, which is my micronutrient, because even though like Turfplex has micronutrient in it, I like to have like my own like the standalone micronutrient product. So man, only 5 is painful, man. That's rough. That's pretty savage, man. That's pretty savage. It's not nice. Not a nice question. All right. Archie Amos says, what are your thoughts on liquid aerators and liquid thatch removers? Okay. So I think if you have thatch in your lawn, the way to remove thatch is by mechanical means. I think if you want to aerate your lawn, the way to aerate your lawn is by mechanical means. That is going to produce the best result. I do think like some of the products that have like molasses and have kelp and have these like these sugars and other nutrients that help promote a lot of microbial activity that can help break down thatch, to help accelerate that process, are beneficial. But it's a very slow process, and it's not going to be as good as aerating. Like for example, if you have a highly compacted soil, right? Some of the things they can say to do is, you can apply gypsum if you want. You can use some of the liquid aeration products, but nothing beats like physically removing cores. And if you think about it, that, like Archie, if you take like the soil test kit as your lawn, say this is really hard and all nice and all compacted, right? And you literally remove samples, you remove cores all throughout the lawn. Now what you've done is you've given the lawn, like the soil, like these voids to kind of relax into. So as far as like relieving compaction, like if you've never aerated a lawn before, if you just walk on a lawn that was just recently aerated, it feels softer. It feels more malleable. Like the lawn, the soil can just move around because there's all this space now opened up for that. So in my opinion, and there's people who disagree with me on this, but in my opinion, comparing there's liquid aeration products and thatch removal products, there's no substitute for mechanical means. Like if you have a lot of thatch in your lawn, if you want to get the thatch out, get a turf rake. Like the turf rake is going to remove thatch. It's going to do a much better job of it than using the liquid products. Now that said, If you are doing the mechanical stuff, the mechanical cultural practices, and you want to now use a, like a molasses product on top of that, or a kelp product on top of that, or any of those products on in addition to supplement it, I think that's a good strategy. But as a main way of reducing thatch or aerating a lawn, it's just not. I don't think they're equivalent. I don't think they're even remotely close. I'll put it this way: if they could, if you want to know what really works, look at what's done in professional turf. Look at like what golf courses do. Like if Devin could get by with spraying a product on greens that would relieve compaction in greens, they would probably do it, because that's a lot easier. It's a lot less work. It's less machinery. It's probably faster recovery. But the fact of the matter is, it's just not equivalent. Like there's nothing beats creating voids in the soil to allow it to get places to relax. It allows air, allows moisture. If you're fertilizing, it allows a nutrient to get down in the soil. It's like if you had to compare them, like the liquid products, which again, they are good, they do work. Liquid products are like here, and then like the mechanical means are like off, like they're not even in the same categories, like off the charts better for reducing thatch and for reducing compaction in soil, in my opinion. If you think about it, if you think about how I explained it, it just makes sense. And if you ever get a chance to go walk on a lawn that has just been aerated, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like it's just softer. It's more, because the soil can literally just, you can be like, oh, it can breathe. It's like you having your pants really tight, and then you open the button and you got more room. That's what you're doing whenever you aerate. You're just literally giving the soil the soil a place to go to move around, and it's better for relieving compaction, in my opinion. All right, next up is Devin. He says need to get a wedding. Oh man, that's true. He says need to get a wedding agent in there too, haha, especially since we're only getting an average of 8 inches of rain per year. See, you said 5, and now that's a good point. I forgot about hydrotane. You didn't even, if I had to think about it, let's think about the things that I use. This is a good exercise. So if we, like the things if I'm just thinking through my season, so there's pre-emergent, so we'll count. There's pre-emergent, there is insecticide, so my celiprin. I use a fungicide. I use Headway in like April, May timeframe, June timeframe. There's that, and then I'll have like my granular fert. Let's finish this one. My granular fert, my liquid fert, NutriKelp Biospectrum, Nutrizolve, and then we have Essential G. Can't forget that. And then finally the wetting agents. In my case, I'm using hydrotane. So 10. I'm counting 10. I'm thinking. Oh no, Primo. Forgot Primo. How can I Primo? So we're at 11. So I'm trying to think of what else I use on my lawn throughout the course of, or different applications that happen. I guess I'm not sure if you really want to count pre-emergent as one, but just thinking out loud, I'm at 11. And if there's any weeds that I need to use like a post-emergent herbicide on, then there's that as well too, right? But just my normal, if all goes to plan, right, I'd say normally there's 11 different products that I will use. If we pare it down like what Devin is saying, where we say, hey, they're pie in the sky, there's no need for insecticide or there's no need for fungicide, but I'm still going to apply them because I don't want to take the chance of having those kind of problems, then it becomes 9. But like as you said though, man, I mean, for people for lawn nerds, like 5 is very, very, very restrictive. That's very restrictive. I mean, you can't get it all done, especially if you're cutting short. If you're real mowing, 5 is not fair. I think 5 is fair if you're a rotary mowing. Then 5 is a decent number. But for real mowing, no. But that's unusual. It's cruel and unusual. That's not good. Not gonna work. All right. Doug 350Z says, Ron, which model Allet is that behind you? So the one behind me, that is the Allet Sterling. This is the Jubilee edition. This is a one of one. This is the only one in existence that they had an auction. So they had an auction that they were giving they're giving money away to, you're bidding on the mower, but the money went to charity. So it's for like an auction that benefited a charity. And it was open to all over the world, and I won it. Yours truly came out on top. Granted, being the computer, the nerd that I am, I almost say, I didn't say I game the system, but I definitely analyze how quickly like the website would update. Because what I would notice is that you had to do your bids in 50-pound increments, right? And then when you bid, it took about 90 seconds or so. Because I would bid and I would like refresh. I was just testing it. And I'd refresh the site. This is the pen tester part of becoming, like I'm trying to find the race condition here, right? So I'm going to refresh to see when it would update, and it was anywhere between 60 to 90 seconds is how long it would take. So because the minimum bid was 50 pounds in 50-pound increments, what I did is I would bid on it, and then as I got towards the end, what I did is as I did my bid, and then I did another bid right after that of 100 pounds more. So I went up, instead of doing like a 50-pound increment, I went up by like double the normal minimum increment. So that by the time someone saw my one bid, if they decided they were going to go up the normal like 50 pounds, it would be too late because the auction would have expired. So that was my whole like how I went about figuring out how to win the mower without like spending like an ungodly amount of money by going back and forth and getting in a bidding war with someone. But yeah, it's the Allet Sterling, and if you want to see it, you can see, this is a video of it right here. I'll pause it right there. You can see that this is a one of one they did. It's got the Union Jack livery on it. It's got, they did this as a celebration of the late Queen Elizabeth's her platinum jubilee, or 70 years on the throne. So it's a one of one mower they built that has, as you can tell, it's got stop pausing it. It's got again the Union Jack livery. You got the chrome front roller. Kind of wish it was grooved, but hey, can't complain. It's got the groove, the chrome front roller, and then all along, like all the other metal in it, as you can see, it's all chromed and polished. It comes with a 6-blade reel, and some of the other stickers on it are black and gold, and the back part of it are blacked out, versus on the regular Sterling they are green. So the back plate of it is green on the regular one. On this one it is black. So, and it is one of one. It's the only one in existence. They said they're only going to build one of them, and that's it right there. So it's a Sterling. But if you want the exact same mower that's just not all like, that didn't like end up on an episode of like Pimp My Mower, then what you want to get is this guy. So if we go to, find it here, Allet USA. The one I got is this guy. So if you want that mower, but the same mower, but it's not with all the eye candy on it, then what you want is this guy. This is the Sterling. This is the same one that I have. The same guts, same core. So that's the mower. That is what it costs. It comes in two different options. You got a 17-inch and a 20-inch. The 17-inch I think is more for very small lawns over in the UK. Over here in the US, where we have larger lawns, the 20 inches, which we're going to want to go with, that is the 20-inch. And then you have they have some of, they got some in stock. That's crazy, because for a while they were out of stock. And then you've got your different attachments. You got the scarifier, the aerator, the lawn brush, dethatcher, verticutter, a 10-blade reel option, which I kind of would have liked to get, and then the 6-blade reel, which is what mine came with. Now, it doesn't really matter because this mower is never going to see a blade of grass. I'm never going to cut with it. I don't even have a battery for it to be able to mow with it. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I don't have so I purposely did not get a battery because I don't want to ever be tempted to mow with it. If you want to see how it does, I did a review, like Roland, who's the representative for Allet USA, brought one of them by for me to mow with. And if you want to see how it did, then I've got a video where I can show you that. And it's a great mower. I really liked it. It's a really well built, very solidly built, compared to like a Swardman. It's a lot more solid. Like Swardman, I'm not like hating on Swardmans or anything, but like the build quality of that mower is like leagues above what you get in a Swardman. But the price also reflects that, right? It's more expensive, but it's built really well. You can tell that it and the Allet that I mow with, the C27 Evolution, you can tell that they're related, because they're both very solidly built mowers. And if you want to see the review video for it, Doug, at Doug50Z, Allet Sterling, mower, then you can see that the review right there for the outlet Sterling. So there you go. So I hope that helps, sir. It's a great mower. If you're looking for electric and you have a smaller lawn, like I'd say 6,000 square feet or smaller, awesome. Awesome. It's a great choice. And it's going to allow you to do a lot of the cultural practices, the verticutting, the turf raking, all that stuff with just one piece of equipment, which is really nice. And if you want to go be a boss and get like a 10 blade reel, you can do that too. So it gives you tons of options there. All right, next up is Devin. He's back. He says, Archie, I love them. I think they're beneficial. Not a ton of research on them from universities, but I think they're definitely have their place and can help in a good fertility program. Oh, and he says, yep, and he says, and this was just his question as far as the liquid aerators and liquid thatch removers. Yeah, so I agree. I mean, they're great products. They do work, but I think in many ways they are oversold for what they can do as a thatch remover or as a way to relieve compaction, as a way to stimulate or increase the amount of microbial activity in your soil, as far as making your fertilizer work better or just helping just with nutrient availability. I think they're awesome for that. Like they're great for that. Like if they're marketed more in that way, then yes, I would be totally on board. But as a way to relieve compaction, not at, I mean, if they do, not as good as a core aeration is what I'm trying to say. All right, let's see here. Josh Bronco says, what are your suppliers telling you about the cost of FERT next year? Notice across many sites, little discount on FERT on this year for Black Friday. Yeah, so I've got a couple of feelers out from different suppliers on that. What I'm telling you as far as like pricing being where it is now, being the ideal scenario is what I'm hearing. In other words, I would not expect that the cost of fertilizer to go down from where it is now. I wouldn't expect that. It could happen, but highly unlikely that you're going to be paying less for fertilizer next year than you are this year. If anything, at best case scenario, it'll stay the same, and it's reflected. You see across the board that the costs, even at some of the big box stores, like they had some deals, but they weren't like super awesome on fertilizers. And if you're dealing with like someone that's online, someone like me or any of the other online places that sell products for your lawn, like a big thing that we have to contend with too is shipping, right? So even if because we're fighting two things, like you look at the price of a bag of fertilizer, you say, wow, it's expensive. It's, whatever is it, $65, $70 for a bag of fertilizer. Like the people that are making all the money on that are UPS and FedEx. Like they're the ones that are getting the lion's share of what you're paying. Like what you're basically paying for is the shipping. And the thing is that we're fighting is when it comes to delivering fertilizer, two things. You're fighting the cost of the product and also the cost of delivering it, right? And both those things have gotten more expensive this year due to just inflation, supply chain, gas prices higher, like all that stuff factors in. So I would not expect it to cost less next year than I do this year. Not unless there's a big change in the economy, and at minimum, if gas prices, we get like really cheap oil again, and gas is like $2 a gallon again, then the cost of fertilizer could come down then, because then like that one part of getting it to you is cheaper. So hope that helps. I mean, that's the thing. My goal is to price stuff that in a way that I can stay in business, but also to where people actually buy it. That's why like Humic Max, I could have gotten it last year. I could have like stocked up on Humic Max last year, but it was so expensive that it would have been prohibitive for you guys to have to buy the stuff. And I want to sell a product at a price that allows you guys to be able to use it. So hope that helps, Josh. I'd expect it to be the same or more next year. That's the answer. All right. Heartfelt Fashion says, okay, yes, reduce capacity. And no, I don't think you're crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, as far as asking about mowing all times of the year, this is not exactly the crowd to have for an accountability, right? Right, Heartfelt. And it says, Devin says, I'd follow your cultural program. That's spot on. I appreciate that, Devin. That means a lot. It means a lot coming from you. So yeah, and here's the thing now. The turf raking and the verticutting and obviously my mowing and top dressing, although I'm probably not gonna be able to top dress this next year, man. If I do, I might lose Alex as a friend. I told him we pinky swore. It wasn't a really strong pinky swear, but it was a decent pinky swear that there would be no top dressing this upcoming season, and I'm gonna try and stick to that. If anything, it'll be like some light stuff here and there, but like a big project, I'm doing my best to not do that next year, maybe. That's what I'm hoping for. All right. Archie says, what did I do? He says, I missed your question. He says, you missed my question. I did? I thought I got it. No. Yeah, you asked a question about liquid aerators and thatch removers. Yeah, so I answered that, Archie. So sorry. If I took me a while to get to it, I think I missed another one. But yes, I gave you my thoughts on it. I think they are beneficial as part of your overall program as far as an addition. I think they're great. But as the best way to reduce thatch in your lawn and to relieve compaction in the lawn, not as good as I think they are necessarily marketed, in my opinion. All right. Next up is Kevin D. He says, so when you see spider webs on your lawn, what does that mean? Yeah, so that is, if you're talking about like in the morning when there's dew on the lawn, that is often a sign of dollar spot, of the fungus that causes dollar spot, Kevin. I see like little spider webs on my lawn here and there throughout the growing season, but it never turns into dollar spot. It never causes damage to the lawn. So I get it. Alex gets it. But again, for most people, especially this is true for Bermuda. I don't know if it's true for other grass types, but Bermuda, if you are feeding the lawn a good diet of nitrogen while it's actively growing, you typically don't have a lot of problems with dollar spot. You normally don't. And if you do, propiconazole is what you want to use for. But the spider webs you see, like I get those on my lawn here and there throughout the growing season, and they're there for a couple of hours and then they go away. And I've never seen any of them materialize into actual disease or problems on my lawn. So that's what it is. That's if what you're describing is what I think you're describing, that is dollar spot. All right, next up is Devin. He says there will be a lot more. I'm guessing in some in-tank mixes, I'll have 10 to 12 products mixed in depending on what I'm looking for. See, I don't feel so bad now. I don't feel so bad. That's good. I'm going through my list here, and I'm sure I left something out, some stuff out. But yeah, I think 11. If you don't include like herbicides, like spot spraying herbicides, and 11. I think 11 is what I am. Is what I'm at. Don't hold me to that because I may have missed something, but I think 11-ish sounds about right. About right. And Doug has a question for you, Devin. He says, Demir, are you doing any leveling or compacting before you lay down the sod? That's a good question. That's a good question, man. Inquiring minds want to know. Are you going to level it before you do anything? I don't know. I didn't see his answer. He says, yeah, here's his answer. He says, I doubt I'll be doing that for the new yard since the goal will be to get the yard down to 3/4 of an inch cut. I'll be tilling in amendments after my soil test as well before the sod is laid. So sounds like top dressing is going to probably happen afterwards when I'm reading in that, Doug. So he's going to get the lawn, get his amendments in there, get he's probably going to rake it smooth, get the grass established, and then top dressing afterwards is what I would guess. There will be top dressing. And then Doug says, Kevin, sounds like Pythium blight. It could be Pythium. If it's reddish, like with Pythium, it tends to be, you'll see like reddish tips. It'll be red. If you see, like, if you want to see what Pythium looks like, I actually got a video on that. I can show you that. But if it looks like what you're seeing in this video that I'm about to link here in a little bit, Kevin, then it could be Pythium. But if it's the light spider webs that typically are only there early in the morning, when there's dew on the lawn, I'm thinking what you're looking at is dollar spot. But again, it shouldn't turn into anything or cause problems if you are taking care of feeding the lawn a good nutrient program. Let us see. I do have a video on Pythium. I do have it. Where is it? It was about watering every day. Is one where I said, hey, if you water every day, what could possibly go wrong by doing that? And I said, hey, here's what can go wrong. Yep, it was this guy here. This is it. This is the video. All right, so if you want to see what Pythium can look like Pythium like really going hard and like ravaging a lawn, then take a look at this video. Pythium blight video. And there you go. That's a fun one. All right. Next up, we have, let's see here. We have Heartfelt saying, I plan on getting in-ground sprinklers. Do you think one top dress will level it out? Depending, it should. It'll do a good job with it. Heartfelt. Here's what I'm inclined to say yes, because Robert did the same thing. Robert did in-ground irrigation, and they installed it with a like trenching, and he did a top dress, and his lawn looks phenomenal. You can't tell where that you. I mean, at least for the pictures, you can't tell where there was anything ever done to it. Alex's lawn was done with the vibratory trenching. They use like a ditch witch, and that is a less damaging way to install irrigation. And with his, same thing. Once we top dress it, you really couldn't tell that anything had happened. So yes, one good top dress should take care of it. I will tell you now, though, that you are probably not going to top dress only one time. I don't know anyone that's top dressed only one time, because you're at least going to do at least two, maybe three, but at least just one and done is not normally a thing I hear when it comes to top dressing. You're going to find you'll do some spot dressing here and there and this and that. I would just get in your mind that you'll do maybe one next year, one next season, but in the following year, you'll see some areas that could be a little bit better with one more top dress, and then you'll go back again to make it that much more better. That much more better. So yes. All right. Next up, let me see. So Devin and Doug are having a sidebar. He says, yeah, as far as tilling the stuff in, he says, yeah, it definitely helps. Get it all in the soil while it's exposed. If you ever have a chance to do it again, definitely, it'll definitely till in your amendments. Good. That's awesome. And then Doug 350Z, his question, he says, Ron, I thought you would say foreplay over hydrotane. Yes, it's a good point. Yeah, so when I say hydrotane, that's what I mean. So foreplay is like hydrotane 2.0. And yeah, you're right. There's really, I should say this. The benefit to hydrotane is that it still comes in a granular, whereas foreplay, and I'll show you here, is liquid only. So if we go to the store, it might all be sold out. But if we go to the store and you go to shop and moisture management, so you see, whereas hydrotane, you can get it in liquid and granular. Granular is currently sold out. Foreplay only comes in the liquid, meaning that you need to apply this and get the best results. You have to water, apply it, or apply it when the soil is moist. You don't necessarily have to water, but for good results, make sure the soil is moist. You apply this, and then immediately after, you water it in for best results. So it's a bit more, slightly more labor intensive than the granular moisture managers like hydrotane. So yeah, but it is a better product. Between the two, it is everything hydrotane will do and more. And Doug says, wow, that mower is beautiful. I can see what's a showpiece. Yeah, I can't. Can you imagine messing that up, putting grass, running that over the lawn? I can't. I mean, I can't do it. Plus, I've already mowed with it. I already know how it cuts, because like Roland brought like that mower without all the pretty stuff on it, and I cut with it. I know how it cuts. It does a really good job. There's no reason to go mess that one up, because I can't replace it. You know what I mean? And frankly, there's nothing that it does that any of my other mowers don't already do. Like it doesn't cut better than them. I already have a way to do turf raking and verticutting. And it's, and for like the really tight areas, like in the like off by the fence, where I need like a narrower mower, like the True Cut, the C25, like the True Cut fits in all those spots just fine. So there's really nowhere on my lawn where I actually need a 20-inch width a mower. So that's why, another reason why I'm not really compelled to use it. Plus, I don't want to mess it up. There is that. Jason Sewell's in the chat. He says he's no questions. I just wanted to say hi. Hope all in the chat are doing well too. We are, man. It's a quiet night. We're about to winding down here. We're having a good time just talking about fungus problems, and Devin's asking all kinds of really mean questions like, oh, you can only use 5 products on your lawn. Listen, the man that puts like 10 to 12 things in his tank at any one time is like saying, so you can only use 5 things. What you gonna do? Just to see me twitch and squirm in my seat? It's all in good fun though. All right, Harper's Knitter, or Inter, I think, is up next. It says, my backyard is thin grass and dirt. Okay, now that we're getting some precipitation, it's turning into mud. Should I put a layer of straw down in the traffic areas? You can. Yeah, I mean, you can. It's not going to hurt anything because it's. I mean, it makes it less of a like a slipping hazard, I guess, right? Um, but as far as the plan for next year, I would plan for next year. I mean, I guess the question is, why is it thin? I understand that you're having a lot of dirt exposed because the grass is thin, but the question I want to know, Harper's, is why is the grass thin? You know what I mean? Is it like a heavily shaded area to where Bermuda is not, it's not getting enough sunlight, it's just thinning out? Is it a problem where it's like a really steep grade, or there's something going on with the soil where it's really hard and it's just not, like, I guess we need to figure out what are the conditions that's causing that area to be thin, because if we can fix that, then next year when it gets warmer and you can get grass to grow there, a lot of your issues with it being muddy and this kind of thing should go away. If it's also, another thing could be too, if it's a bowl, so if water gets in there and it settles to where grass just dies, just has a hard time growing there, that's something else that could be a part of the issue. But I would figure out the first part of your question, which is your comment, more rather, where you said my backyard is thin grass. Like, that's what my eyes went to when I read this, is like, why is it thin? What can we do to fix that? Because then all the other stuff that you're having to deal with really go away or become a lot less of a problem if you can grow a thick stand of grass. You know what I mean? Great comment. All right, next up is Optic Cyclic. He says, "Hey Ron, my boys are enjoying your videos a lot. That's awesome. I appreciate that. That's really cool." He says, "Can you say hi to Gareth and Royce, please?" I can say hi to Gareth and Royce. Thank you guys for being a fan. Thank you guys for watching the content. I truly, truly appreciate it from all ages, like from 8 to 80. I appreciate people watching my content. So thank you guys so much. And it's a thing when you see your dad out there in the lawn working on his lawn. Eventually you're going to turn into that. So take notes now. Embrace the awesomeness now, because when you have your own home one day, you'll learn all the tricks of the trade and you'll be able to dominate the neighborhood. So between what you learn on like live streams like this and just watching what your dad's doing, you're going to get all the tips that will allow you to have the lawn on the street that everyone's going to be like, man, it's fake grass, right? That's what we all live for. But I appreciate you guys watching. So Gareth and Royce, appreciate you guys watching the show. All right, next up is Kevin D. Jones. It says, "Thanks, Ron and 350Z. It is white webs. On another subject, I think the title sponsor LG should be required to stay until the end of the live stream, or should be banned from 5 free giveaways." Listen, LG is already very, he's already kind of pretty high strung when it comes to giveaways. Can you imagine like banning him from 5 of them? That's not good. Plus, he's probably here. He's probably just lurking around. He's probably just being quiet and just watching and just paying attention and this kind of thing. He's just not talking, but he's probably still here. Knowing him, he's probably still around, just hanging out. Next up is Doug. He says, "Wow, that C27 costs more than a Honda Civic. I feel so broke looking at the price." It's because it's really not designed for homeowners. It's designed for, if you look at all the promotional videos of the C27, you see it on cricket pitches, you see it on soccer fields, you see it on stadiums. Like there's a couple of NFL teams that actually use that very same mower. So it's not designed for like us, for like people, like for like home lawns, but it's for given the size of my lawn, and that's what I needed to be able to go electric, right? So it is expensive, but it's also a really awesome mower. I really enjoy it. All right, next up is Harper. He says, "Sorry to ask a stupid question. No such thing." He says, I started using Humichar and wow, I'm impressed. Nice. See, and that's what I hear. A lot of people that use Humichar seem to really like it. Harper's. You said, "I thatched in the spring and ripped out everything." Oh, I see. So this is this was self-imposed, your lawn being really thin. So you dethatched in the spring and it ripped out everything, and then it didn't. So if you dethatched in the spring, it didn't recover over the course of the entire spring and summer. It should have. I would imagine it would have recovered by then. I mean, I'm not sure how much of a dethatch we did. You may have gone super, super aggressively and did more harm than good. But normally, if you dethatch early in the spring and you've got the ingredients that Bermuda needs, which are like sunlight and nitrogen, so the fertilizer and plenty of sunlight, it should recover over the course of the year. So I wonder what you did as far you a little heavy handed on the dethatcher. It sounds like. Okay, it says I'm female and I'm turning things around to. I'm a female and I really am turning things around to do people like do to people like me that are willing to answer questions and help noobs. Thank you. You're very very welcome, Harper. And I'm glad that you're getting some value out of the live stream. Here's one thing I will tell you, right? So you did your dethatch this year, and it sounds like you got it done. Like you definitely thinned it out. Let's not do that next year. So in my opinion, like dethatching, if you're, at least if you're doing it the way that it sounds like you did it, which is like very very aggressive, like the hook blade thing, where it actually like goes slightly beneath the soil surface and rips out, like just lose a lot of debris out of the soil, out of the canopy, is very 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 aggressive. It's more aggressive than verticutting. It's more aggressive than turf raking. It is very very aggressive. Probably the only thing more aggressive than that is like if you got a tiller out, like that would be more aggressive than dethatching. And unless you have a lawn that is very old, let's say you moved into a house and like for 10 years it was neglected, right? And people played football on it every day and it was like packed down to where it was like concrete and there's tons of thatch and no one like cared about the lawn, and you want to dethatch it to kind of to give it like a reset. Like in those situations it makes sense. But for most people, in my opinion, like dethatching or like aggressive dethatching is overused. Like you should just get yourself like a turf rake and just like several turf raking sessions will do a lot of what I think people are trying to accomplish with like an aggressive dethatching. Like as far as like removing, like cleaning out thatch, thinning out the canopy a little bit, just helping opening things up without doing too much damage to the lawn. So if you did it this year, that's fine. We're good to go. Next year, I wouldn't do that. If anything, a light scalp and just feed it and mow it, and you're gonna find it should thicken up really nicely. It should do really well. It should do really really well if you do that. And you said, "Hey Ron, I sent some pics to motivate you for next year. I wonder what did you send me here? Let me see. I don't have any pictures from anyone as yet, Doug." Unless I'm not sure what time you sent them, but I don't have. And actually, yeah, I do. I see your picture here. It was earlier. Let's see. So pictures for next. Oh man, that does look good. You guys want to see Doug's pictures? We can post them up here real quick. I can show you guys, and they are small, so they hopefully will load up nicely. All right. So picture. We're gonna start from the least to the most awesome one. So picture one is him showing his vanity strip and his lawn. Looks pretty nice. I think you overseeded, right? That's what you're trying to show me as far as motivation for next year, Doug, as far as overseeding the lawn. So that's picture one. Looks decent, looks nice, looks clean. And now we got picture two. Man, that does look good. And you can see around the mulch bed around the trees, like how that's all dormant. You can see the grass in the background. That's also dormant, but not Doug's lawn. Again, it's really green. And then the final picture is this guy here showing off his overseeded lawn. Yeah, it does look good. I will admit it does look good. It does look good. It's just the work of having to mow, man, of having to mow when it's really cold out. Having to do it. Like right now I can get away with doing it once every few weeks, once a month. It's fine. But if I do that, I'm going to have to be out there mowing it at least once a week, right? Because I can't like have it out there and have it looking ugly. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine what the internet would be like? They'd be like, oh man, look around. You got like, you overseed, you got cool season grass and it looks terrible. I can't have that. It's gotta be looking good, which means like a big commitment. Big commitment. Robert Rainey says, "Can't you see who's watching, Ron?" No, I can see. I can see comments. I can see that kind of thing. But as far as like who's here, I have more. There are more people that are like lurking, that just kind of sit back in the background and just watch and don't say anything. But I can see the number of people. Like you guys can see that too. But as far as like the names of who's actually watching, like their handles, I can't see that. Can't see that. There's not really an easy. And if you think about it, there's not really an easy way for YouTube to do that, because I mean, don't look at a channel like mine, because my channel is relatively small, right? Take like a really big channel that does live streams where they have, 10, 20,000 people on the live stream, where it's really big. Like, can you imagine like what that would be like in an interface to be able to like, for you to to pull a list like that? It's just, I think from a privacy standpoint, YouTube doesn't like it, which is why they don't share that. I mean, they obviously know everyone that's watching a show. For privacy, they don't do it. And then also from just like I guess a reason why we beneficial. Like if I had a list of everyone watching my show right now, I don't know why that would be, like what I would do with that. Like why would that be? I don't know that it would necessarily be beneficial because there's nothing really I would do with it other than whenever like the haters are like watching, I'd be like, heh, see you watching, even though you guys don't like, even though you talk trash, you're still watching. So that would be the only reason, and then frankly, that's not a good enough reason to for them to implement that feature. So that's probably why they don't, along with just I can think of a bunch of privacy reasons why they wouldn't do that. All right, and she says, I will never do it again. It was hell. The machine was 300 pounds. Oh, so you used a real dethatcher. You didn't mess around. You had, okay, so yeah, so it sounds like you went kind of aggressive on the dethatch, and that's fine. You did it. We got that out of our system. Sounds like you never want to do it again, which I agree with. You really shouldn't have to do it again. And from here on out, next year, just plan for a scalp and your nutrient program and mowing. That's what you should do. And if you do that, you're gonna have an awesome looking lawn. You shouldn't have to go super hardcore aggressive with dethatching, because it's again, people like talk about like dethatching like it's the best thing since sliced bread, and most lawns don't need it. It's you're doing more harm than good by going that route. All right, next up is, and I agree, it does look pretty amazing. Doug's lawn does look pretty awesome. All right, next up is Ogsan. He says, hey, Ron and everyone, excited to mention that I am renovating my yard and putting in a new Bermuda. It's called Ironite. Have you ever heard about this hybrid cultivar? I have not. I've heard of Ironite as the product, like the micronutrient product, Ironite, but I've never heard of Bermuda Ironite. What say you? What is this sorcery that you speak of? Ironite Bermuda grass. Oh, it's a thing. Ironite Bermuda. No, I don't know. Let's see here. It's pulling up the product. It's not pulling up the a cultivar called Ironite. Are you trolling me, Ogsan? I'm going to look here. I mean, it might be. I've never heard of Ironite Bermuda grass. If they did, it's not a great name for Bermuda, but I'll look into it. The only Ironite I've ever heard of is Ironite, like the iron product, not an actual Bermuda cultivar called Ironite. But it could be a thing. All right. Kevin says LG is lurking. Try a fake giveaway. Speaking of a habitual lurker. Yeah, I gotta do another giveaway. We gotta do another one. It's December, right? It's Christmas season, so we definitely gotta do a giveaway sometime this month, right? 'Tis the season for giving stuff away, right? And then Robert says, Ron, your memory is stellar. I do have a pretty good memory. I am not the best with names. I'm really good with faces, and if I ever go somewhere, I can pretty much always find my way back there. So I'm really good with remembering like directions. I have a really good sense of direction. And people. If I see people, I tend to remember them, and names something I try and work on. But yeah. And Levendi says, I don't understand why you have haters. All you do is give advice and help people. What's the issue with them? Like anything, man. It's like, why does you think it's a core part, Levendi's a core part of human nature. It's like for every, like you can't have light without dark. You can't have good without evil. You can't, and if you do anything of merit or that's worthwhile, especially in the public eye, you're gonna have people that really like what you do, and you're gonna have people that really hate what you do. That's just the way of it. I mean, you can see it in our political system, you can see it in entertainment, you can see it in everything. So this is no different. I mean, you would think that grass wouldn't be that way, but it just is. It just is. But it's a rite of passage. You know you're doing something right when you have haters, when people take time out of their day, out of their busy day, just to go and leave like a nasty comment on your video, or to give you a thumbs down on a live stream or a video. It's like I've arrived. I got pop my collar. I gotta dap, because I'm somebody now in the world, right? All right. So next up is Ogsan. He says, no sir, first one in Charlotte. And then next up, Robert Rain says, can you see the likes by handle or just the numbers? Just the numbers. So if you give me a like, there's only going to be one like. Like I can't see, no. So no, yeah. So you could see that I can see the number of likes, but I can't see that Robert gave me a like or Robert did not give me a like. So if you want to do, like, if you get a super chat, I can see that. Like I can see like those kinds of things. But like a lot of that stuff YouTube hides for good reason, because it would be abused. It would be abused, right? Like if you notice, like YouTube got rid of the dislike. Like you can still do dislikes, but as far as showing the number of dislikes on a video, they took that away. They publicly took that away, because not in the lawn care niche anyway, but like in some, like you took like makeup videos or fashion videos or other verticals where people were dealing with like cyberbullying. People would go out and like have like a summer, people would go into like dislike videos, and people were having like mental problems from it. Like, it's like they're causing emotional problems or emotional distress for people, for some creators. So if YouTube says, you know what, you can dislike the video still, but publicly no one will know. So a video can get like 1 dislike or can get 1,000 dislikes. No one really know it. So they're just really careful about what they give access to creators and what they also allow the public to see, because people will abuse it. That's why they do. And also for privacy reasons too. There's some stuff they're just not going to release, because it doesn't make me making content any better. And again, for people that are just nefarious, they're going to do bad things with that type of knowledge. So that is the reason why. Oh, and so Joseph Roberts says maybe iron cutter. Okay, maybe he meant iron cutter. Iron cutter Bermuda, is that a thing? Let's see here. Is that it's a cultivar? Iron cutter Bermuda. Oh, Bermuda grass seed. So there is yeah, that doesn't really look that nice. I don't know if that's it says, yeah, so it's I'm looking at the seed. It looks like a more coarse looking leaf to me. It says iron cutters is a rapidly spreading early spring green Bermuda grass seed, ideal for athletic fields and golf fairways. Yeah, I don't know. I've not heard of iron cutter before, but now learn something new. So thanks for that, Joe. All right, next up is Kevin D. He says, Lavendi needs to be a student of Ron's rants. Those are needed knowledge. I used to do those, but it's like, people don't watch them as much, and it's just, I enjoyed like lawn care more. And I, believe it or not, I actually have had people tell me I should start doing them again, but I'd have to be on another channel. I can't mix that kind of stuff in with the lawn care. It doesn't work. And Ogsan, which might be our last comment of the evening, says, oops, I meant iron cutter. Sorry, no trolling, sir. Way too old for that, LOL. Yes, so iron cutter. So I did see it, and actually, I can show you guys. I can show you guys iron cutter Bermuda grass if you want to see. It looks like it's one they say for athletic fields here. So let me get a picture of it, of iron cutter. Let me see. Hancock actually has, this, you can grow it from seed, it looks like. Can you? Well, yeah, so here we go. We can cut over here. Iron cutter, elite vegetative Bermuda grass. Sounds awesome. Great marketing. It's the newest elite, highly sterile, developed for high input golf sports, turf, low cut landscapes, forges new path for sod, Bermuda sod, born out of Oklahoma by legendary Dr. Charles Taliaferro. Ooh. Improved drought tolerance, refined texture. They show it there with a bunch of data, but they show it next to a quarter, so you can see how it looks. Good cold tolerance. Ooh, man, that does look good. Goodness gracious. Oh my, is that what he's standing on? That color looks good. That does look nice. That does look nice. Interesting. Very cool. Looks good. Well, cool, Oxan. So yeah, if you're doing renovation, you're doing that. It looks like a really good option. Let me know how it works out for you. Let me know how it works out for you. Well, cool, guys, gals. Looks like that is it for this evening. That's all the comments that we have for tonight. I got to start planning the giveaway. Got to figure out what we're going to do for the giveaway, since we're in the month of December. Got to get that done, right? And I think that is pretty much it. I really do appreciate you guys coming to hang out and, chat with me and, talk about sports and grass, of course. And then Devin with the torture questions is like, you only have 5 products. Only 5 things may live. What will they be? Choose wisely. Those types of things. Had a great time, guys. Thanks so much. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.